the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome in here, ladies and gentlemen, on a Sunday night on the Turn 3 Racing Network. We got in store for you a little short track racing action from the South Boston Speedway in Virginia. It is the Northeast Racers presented by the LFOD Motorsports. As always, here it's Muth in the booth, and right alongside me, it is my trusty little analyst right here, Al Smith. Al, we saw some really good racing last week. And this week here at the South Boston Speedway, a little bit more confined spaces, but these boys have packed the field here. 45 drivers have so far entered the South Boston Speedway.
45 drivers are here on hand at South Boston Speedway, Roger, and tonight's race is going to be action-packed. South Boston, multiple groove racetrack. I think with the amount of cars and the amount of heat that's going to get put into the groove, they've already laid down a ton of rubber. The groove is already up 2.5 lanes off the bottom. I think we can see 3 lanes in the corner, but then it's going to be really tricky when you come off that corner because the outside wall does not move.
Yeah, that's one thing that these drivers are going to have to pay attention to, and if something were to happen here tonight, it is very tight on the straightaways, though. A lot of room in the corners, multiple grooves in the corners, but once something happens, it is like a big traffic jam down on these straightaways. A lot of banking here tonight on the straightaways also. It's going to wad a lot of cars up if they do. It's going to roll them down to the inside, maybe, but we're going to have to find out here. Just 45 seconds left here in our practice session before we head to qualifying, where the drivers are going to have 2 laps, 5 minutes to lay down their fastest time they can. Right now, driver out of the 20 camp, it's David Greenslit, the track champion in the street stock division from Claremont Motorsports Park back in 2019. He is here tonight, and he right now has the top time. He has a really good fast race car. Last week, unfortunately, was not able to win the race. I guess the curbing got him, I guess we can say.
Yeah, I remember early on in that race at Oxford for the 250 up there, he was very dominant, then got the curbing, and then just couldn't really rebound, and got back up inside, I believe, the top 10, looking back here at my notes. But, yeah, you know, the driver to keep an eye on here tonight, but 250 laps and close quarter action is going to be very exciting here. This is America's hometown track.
Yeah, America's hometown track, one of the best short tracks here. We're going to call this track in the Mid-Atlantic. So as you see, the 5 minutes are on the clock here. One of these drivers will lock themselves in to the main event right here out of our qualifying session. One of the first drivers to bring his car out on track going to be the driver of the 25 of Clark Brooks. I don't remember if Brooks was in the race last week, Al. Maybe you have it in the notes, but I believe this is his first start here on Sunday night.
Yeah, pretty sure this is the first attempt as he goes through 1 and 2 right on that yellow line, Roger, and down the backstretch. So the super late models, it's hard to hook up the rear tires when they're cold, especially on opening laps. So we'll see what lap number 1 looks like for the 25 of Clark Brooks, and Brooks will put down a 14.789. It's going to be good enough for 4th right now on lap number 1, as the number 1 spot goes to the 4 of Jonathan LeMay.
Yeah, LeMay goes number 1, but he's not there very long because the driver of the 34 is Zach Nicholson, and he takes that Sparco Racing 34 to the top of the speed charts here. So right now, 17 drivers have taken a qualifying run. We're drop it down, find where your favorite driver is on the timing and scoring here, as it will shuffle really quick here with this many drivers into the lobby. Aiden Young is out there in the number 9. He just finished up. It's 8th quickest right now for Aiden Young.
Justin Bankowski in the car number 91 getting up to speed down the backstretch. He's going to be coming off of turn number 4 to get his qualifying lap underway as Kenny Thompson, the number 39, just sets quick time as Bankowski barrels it down in through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, Thompson, one of those drivers in this field here tonight that does have street stock championship. Well, it is the championship of the Rookie of the Year from the Claremont Motorsports Park. So there are a lot of strong competitors in this field here tonight, as Vernon Woodard now going to come across. He has got the number 13 on the side of that car, slotted in the 22nd position currently, and it looks like his second lap is going to be a little bit slower, so we'll revert back to his first lap for Woodard, and it's going to be currently now, as other times are coming in here, like Mike Young in the 66 machine is now 21st, and Teagan in the 42, I believe it's his first start here. It's going to be saying 23 on the side of his machine. He is now second quickest.
51 of James Curl just coming across the line to get on it as he works down the backstretch, and his accelerated number 51 as he works through turns 3 and 4 at a bobble off of 2. Let's see how bad it hurt him. It'll slot in at a 14.365, I believe.
Good enough for the second quickest time right now. Right now, Kenny Thompson is sitting in the top spot. That would let him not have to go through the heat races or the last chance qualifiers. You see Benkowski, he's going to pull it down there. Benkowski, one of those guys that is over at the Hudson Speedway, one of the sponsors for tonight's race.
Tonight's practice fast time setter, the number 20, David Greenslet. He's on the racetrack coming off turn number 4. We'll see. This was the fastest man in qualifying, car number 20, as he works through turns 1 and 2, nice and smooth around the bottom on that yellow line. Right where you want to be for time trials here, Roger, as he works through turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, you don't want to try to use the middle groove or the upper groove. It's the longer way around the South Boston Speedway, just a little 0.3 of a mile. We'll call it a bull ring at this point, and it's not going to be good enough here on lap number 1 for Greenslet. He'll take that car back to pit road, and it looks like we have had a new quick time go out there. The 09 of Jeremy Davis has taken the top spot from Alan Young and Kenny Thompson. A couple other drivers back out on track. The 51 here, James Curl, out there on track. He's trying to see if he can better himself yet. Just over a minute left here in this qualifying session.
So far, 41 of 45 drivers have taken time. The 50 of Matthew Kimball getting ready to put down his first time lapse of the evening in that car number 50 as he works around the speedway.
So this will be the first time lap in for the driver of the number 50. Where will he jump to? Looks like a no lap time for lap number 1 for the driver of the 50 of Matthew Kimball. Let's see where lap number 2 is going to put him as he stays out of the outside wall there. Looks like it's going to jump him to the 10th position currently. Kyle Bubbles Bingham out there on track. He just took the 77 to the 14th quickest time on our timing and scoring sheet. Looks like just one other driver currently out there, Al, and it's the driver of the 43.
Yeah, David Elliott just going across the line. He's going to slot it in the 40th position on his lap, as that's going to end qualifying. So 2 drivers did not make qualifying as heat race number 1 gets ready to come out onto the racetrack. 12 laps of action here tonight for our heat races.
Yeah, it looks like one driver going to save himself the trouble of going through the heat races here tonight. It'll be Jeremy Davis. He locks himself into the A main with the fast time here tonight at the South Boston Speedway. But as we get ready to go green flag racing action, it'll be 9 drivers, like you said, Al, and let me walk you through those 9 drivers here at the South Boston Speedway. Starting on the front row, here to be the 24 of Alan Young. Right alongside him in that sharp-looking number 4, it'll be Jonathan LeMay. Right behind them, starting on row number 2, it'll be the 20 of David Greenslet. Corey Plummer is going to roll off in the 4th spot. Jarrett Curtis in the 33 making his first attempt. He'll start from the 5th spot. Stephen Dickey Jr. in the 98 machine. He'll start from position number 6. 08 of Ryan Carmen will roll off 7th, and Kirby Goodrich in the 8th spot. Starting 9th and shotgun to the field here tonight, it will be the 44 of Andrew Harmon. Al, that's your 9-car field for heat race number 1. Next time by, we're going to fire them off here for 12 laps.
12 laps, heat race number 1 of 5 here tonight. 5 heat races. Roger taking 4. The top 4 will automatically make their bid into the big dance here tonight. Everybody else will have to go through the last chance qualifier. Final chance to reach up, pull those belts tight as we get ready to go with heat race number 1.
So with heat race number 1 coming your way, race fans. I hope you're ready to go short track racing here from the South Boston Speedway in Virginia as the iRacing pace car makes to go left here down the pit road. We are racing for the first time here tonight at the South Boston Speedway. Side-by-side action at the front. One of them's going around. It looks like it's the 7 of Kirby Goodrich. He will spin in turn number 1. I think he got a little help. But now, I was going to say we stay green flag, but there is the yellow flag out here. That's going to negate 1 lap for these guys here tonight from the South Boston Speedway.
And nice little small slide for the 7 of Kirby Goodrich. And looked like maybe the 44 Andrew Harmon also involved in that one early here tonight, Roger. So the first lap going to come back under yellow, but just got stacked up down there in turn number 1. We talked about it in the pre-race show, how tight this corner is as we get through. When we get more than the 1 car out there at a time, it really gets jammed up.
Yeah, it's a small little track there. You just saw it. I believe that was the 44 of Andrew Harmon who got into the back of that number 7 machine. So it looks like Harmon will take the, I believe, an EOL penalty here, and he will start at the back of the field here now. So a tough little stack up here. Let's show you where your favorite driver is running now. Remind you, 4 drivers going to transfer in right here out of this. We'll call it, it says feature 1, but it's actually heat race number 1 here. There's the cutoff line. There's your 4 drivers. It's Alan Young, Jonathan LeMay, David Greenslit, and Corey Plummer right now have themselves into the transfer spots.
The current race leader was the 2007 strictly mini stock champion. That is the number 24 of Alan Young. Races at the White Mountain Motorsports Park. All these drivers, they're not unfamiliar with being in that driver's seat in the real world, Roger, but here we go. Once again, lights are out on the Mustang. We're going to go back green flag racing here in heat race number 1.
Yeah, to be Alan Young, Jonathan LeMay on the front row, followed by David Greenslit and Corey Plummer, Jarrett Curtis, Stephen Dickey, Ryan Carmen, Kirby Goodrich, and the 44 of Andrew Harmon. That's how they're going to line up here as the iRacing pace car will dive in, and we will go back green flag racing. 7 laps to go here in heat race number 1, taking 4 out of the heat race, and Jonathan LeMay going to get a really good start there on that number 4 to the outside. Will he be able to clear Young? He will by the time they get into turn number 3. They single file out here, coming to get 6 to go.
6 laps to go, and the 20 of Greenslit, the last car in. He's got the back bumper full as they work down the back stretch. That's the 08 of Ryan Harmon. Is now we got a bid for your race lead. Side by side off turn number 4.
Yeah, as they come side by side, jockey for position there. Tight quarters racing out of turn 4. The 24 of Young going to scoot the 4 of LeMay up. But LeMay will hold the power down here at the South Boston Speedway. Seeing Alan Young put those left side tires down there on the apron, trying to get a little more rotation out right now. As we get 4 laps to go, it seems like Jonathan LeMay in that outside lane seems to be the place to be here tonight.
Yeah, LeMay with a nice restart on the outside, got that momentum. You are able to pinch down your competitor, so everybody in heat races following this one, probably taking note of that as we work here on lap number with just 3 laps to go as they work off the corner. Young still not giving up on the back bumper, that for LeMay.
Yeah, this time by to be the popsicle sticks in the air for the first time here tonight. 2 more laps here in heat race number 1. It's Jonathan LeMay, Alan Young, Stephen Dickey has moved himself into that 3rd spot. David Greenslit, the street stock racer out of Vermont. He is sitting there 4th in that final transfer position. This time by, it'll be white flag in the air for Jonathan LeMay.
LeMay will make it work it down the backstretch for the final time in heat race number 1 through turns 3 and 4. As they come off turn number 4, the checkered flag will wave. Heat race number 1 going to go to Jonathan LeMay.
So Jonathan LeMay, Alan Young, Stephen Dickey, and David Greenslit will be your final drivers who make it in to your A main right here from heat race number 1. Heat race 2, Al starting to take to the grid. Take us through that starting lineup here tonight, presented by the LFOD Motorsports.
Starting on the inside of row number 1 is the number 12. That's Tony Quadros. To his outside, the number 97 of Jarrett Howard. Kyle Willis will start 3rd on the inside. Car number 55. To his outside, the number 23. That is Derek Stanhope. Justin Benkowski in car number 91 will start on the inside of row number 3. To his outside, the 52 of Dylan Tester. Mike Young in car number 66 will start 7th outside of him, the 25 of Clark Brooks, and shotgun on the field, the number 2 of James Boyle. 9 cars slated to take the green flag. They all make the grid. Rogers, we get ready to go with heat race number 2.
As heat race number 2 rolls off here, we got to give a big shout out to a couple of our sponsors here. LFOD Motorsports is your premier sponsor here tonight, giving up, well, not giving up, but bringing us on board here. Claremont Motorsports Park, where some of these racers are from. Hudson Speedway, another one of the tracks that these guys are from. Lee USA Speedway, where we race is why we race. Just a couple of your sponsors here tonight and a couple of the tracks that these boys race at on a weekly schedule. As Tony Quadros, one of the car owners of the drivers that race at a couple of those tracks, he will be taking us to the green flag here in heat race number 2. iRacing pace cars should be making the left-hand turn here any second, and it'll be 12 laps of the distance, 9 drivers, 4 are going to move to the next round.
Green flag is up. They drop the hammer down to the turn number 1 drag race. It'll be Quadros to the inside. Here comes the 97 of Howard. They're side by side. Quadros with a bumper out front. Down to the turn number 3 for the first time in heat race number 2 is the yellow flag will fly. It looks like the 52 of Dylan Tester possibly involved.
Well, that'll throw the first yellow flag, and it looks like James Boyle also having a little bit of issues with maybe the pedals on that number 2, see if he can straighten those out. Let's throw it back here on this replay and see what just happened. Here you see the 52 to the outside. He is the 3rd car on the outside row there. Green flag waves as they go into turn number 1. You see the 52 to the outside. It looks like the 51 there checks up just a little bit. And then there, 3 cars going to come together. It's going to be the 2 of Boyle, Tester, and Brooks, all going to make contact. They all are able to actually continue on, but that will bring the first caution flag here of heat race number 2.
In a Rowdy Energy Drink number 51, that is Derek Stanhope, who got a little bumper tag going down in the turn number 1 and kind of stacked everybody up, got him 3 wide there, Roger. So slowing down heat race number 2. We just saw how quick the back straightaway clogged up. So that's just going to be the story of tonight. It's going to be who can miss the action, who can stay out of trouble, and who's going to be able to motor on through. Because once you get damage here, it is a small track, but it's a very fast track, and it is aero dependent.
Well, we'll see if those guys are able to compete here going forward and how strong they will be in heat race number 2. Yeah, just think how they all kind of came together there on the backstretch here at South Boston with only 9 drivers on the track. Picture that once we go feature racing a little bit later on here tonight. 25 drivers will make up that field. So we'll have to keep note of that, as it looks like the iRacing pace car lights are off. We will go back green flag racing with 7 laps to go here in heat race number 2.
And they start to double back up to even about 4 rows of even rows to 2 as they get ready to come off of turn number 4. The pace car will come off the racing surface, and it'll be Tony Quadros and Jarrett Howard stepping on the loud pedal as they drag race down to the turn number 1. Quadros with a much better start than the first one as he got a full car length. Here comes Howard on the outside. That 97, he'll drop it in line with the Toyota sponsor number 97. Single file your top 2, then a side-by-side battle back there for the 3rd and 4th spot. The 55 of Will is not done as he takes a look underneath Howard. Here comes Bentowski on the outside.
Right now it's Tony Quadros out front there with Howard running in 2nd in his 97, but the battle is right here between the Tesla-sponsored Traxxas number 55 of Kyle Willis and the outside, the 91 of Justin Benkowski, the car owner, making an appearance here inside the top 4. Those are your 4 transfer positions. Derek Stanhope, though, right behind them in the Rowdy Energy, but we will go caution flag number 2 here. It looks like James Boyle has gone around in the number 2 machine. That's going to bring us to a little bit of a halt here. Let's see if we can find that back in just a moment on our Turn 3 Racing replay. Looks like the 52 of Tester and the 2 here of Boyle were battling it out, and a little bit off the tail of the field here. Both drivers were wrapped up in that first incident. Let's see what happened here going out of turn number 2, I believe it is. Both drivers handling issues into turn number 1, and Oh, just a little bit of a bumper hook out of turn 2 to the back bumper of the 2 for James Boyle from Dylan Tester. And that's what's going to put us under this second caution flag here in heat race number 2. So just like that, under the caution flag here with under 5 laps to go.
Yeah, this time by it'll be 2 laps remaining. We'll see if the pace car's lights go out. If not, I believe this one is going to be a wrap here in heat race number 2, Roger. As slow down for the second time here. 12 laps is the distance of our heat races here tonight, with 4 cars transferring to the big dance. And that's going to lock in 21 cars after the heat races are in, Roger. Meaning only 4 spots will come out of the 20-plus cars that are going to be looking to make it into the show.
It looks like we have green-white checkers here in our heat races, so these boys will be able to go ahead and figure out under green who will win heat race number 2. Let's see if the iRacing pace car lights will go out this time by. As they will, so we will double them back up here. We'll add 2 extra laps to this heat race, and we'll figure out who will transfer in. Remember, your top 4 drivers will transfer in to the A main event a little bit later on tonight.
Right now, that 4th and final transfer spot belongs to the 91 of Justin Binkowski, as he looks at your back bumper, the 97 of Howard, as it'll be Quadros and Howard stepping on the gas pedal as the green silk will fly one more time. They head down to turn number 1. Howard gets a little bit of wide entry, gets the momentum as here comes Willis on the inside with that 55 Traxxas machine as they work down in the turns 3 and 4. Off of turn 4, the white silk will fly. 1 more lap to go for Quadros as the battle for your transfer spot heats up. The 91 of Binkowski gets around Willis. Willis now in your 4th spot.
Yeah, both them drivers are involved inviting themselves into the next round as they will finish. Tony Quadros out front. Jarrett Howard, Justin Binkowski, Kyle Willis will be your top 4. They will move on to the big dance. Everybody else will be going to the last chance qualifier coming up here a little bit later. That will be 25 laps the distance, and I believe, Al, we're still waiting to hear how many we will take out of that consolation race coming up a little bit later. But this is how they will line up for heat race number 3. Starting on the front row, it'll be the 39 of Kenny Thompson. The 34 of Zach Nicholson is slotted to start there on the outside of row number 1. To the inside of row number 2, it'll be Kyle Bubble Bingham in the 77 machine. Joel Hodge Don in the 36 machine, or just JH as they want to call him now. The 46 of Mark Creighton will start in the 5th position. Randall Phillips in the 07 will start in 6th. Jacob Heathcote in the 93 will roll off in the 7th position, and Dylan Boudreau will start 45 there in 8th, and it looks like Milton Durand will miss the grid here. He would be the 9th car for heat race number 3.
Heat race number 3 working around the speedway. The lights are off the pace cars. We get ready to go with this one as they come next time by. So, Roger, just by doing my math up here, we'll wait for the officials to clarify with us, but it looks like there'd be 4 cars coming from the LCQ after heat races are complete. So, a lot of cars vying for just those 4 positions. So, if you're not in the top 4 in these heat races, it's very important to finish a little bit higher up so that way you get closer to that front starting spots.
Well, we're about to let them loose and find out who from heat race number 3 will join the rest of the group in the big dance here tonight. It'll be the 39 of Kenny Thompson taking the green flag here as they go down into turn number 1. Put 12 laps on the books, and it looks like Thompson's going to get a really good start, but the battle will be for that 2nd position between Bubbles and Nicholson as we come to complete lap number 1 here. It looks like Kenny Thompson will lead that lap as right behind them they have single filed out just like that, Al, for the first time here. I think one going around, though. I think it's the 45 of Dylan will take his Exalta 45 into the outside wall, and he will take the tow. We stay green flag racing here at South Boston.
We do. It's Thompson out front by half a second, and it's the battle back there for your number 2 spot, the 34 of Nicholson and the 77 of Bingham. They run nose to tail. Bingham running that higher line, trying to get some momentum as the battle for your final transfer spot heats up. The 07 of Phillips has it with Creighton right there all over him off of turn number 2.
Turn 2 now into 3. They single file out, but that is the battle between Phillips and Creighton. It's the 07 and the 46 machine who will lock themselves in here. It looks like Creighton is able to drive the car in a little bit harder, but kind of results in losing a little ground here because out of the corner, that 07 of Phillips is really able to hammer down, but now Phillips is going to make a little mistake. Here comes the 46 of Creighton to the inside in turn 1. They're going to go door to door coming here out of turn number 2.
Phillips crowds him off of turn number 2 a little bit, breaks the momentum of that 46 New Hampshire as they work down off of turn number 4. Still side by side. It's Phillips at the line. 6 laps to go, halfway in, halfway to go in this heat race number 3, presented by LFOD Motorsports. It is the 07 of Phillips. He is holding off the advancements of Creighton, but Creighton looking to roll that bottom just a little bit better right now as he gets a look to the inside again, once again, off of turn number 2.
Yeah, your top 3 have single filed out, and this is your closest battle on track, and this is going to determine who will go to the last chance qualifier and who will lock themselves in right here out of heat race number 3 tonight. The 07 of Phillips right now has that position, but that 46 would really like it. It seems like the 46 of Mark Creighton may be a little bit faster, but it's one thing to be faster here on a short track, and it's another thing to be able to get around the driver in front of you.
It is right now, and the Phillips doing a great job breaking the momentum of the 46 of Creighton. See how he keeps them down low off the corner, and Creighton not able to get the power back down. So now Phillips now enjoys the lead, but here he comes to the inside. Creighton right to the inside numbers off of the backstretch.
Yeah, this time by, once we get to the flag stand, it'll be one more lap to go here, presented by the LFOD Motorsports Group. Final lap here. It's Thompson out front, Nicholson, Bubbles, and this is the battle for the final spot. It's Phillips and Creighton. Right now, Phillips has it. One final ditch here for Creighton. Can he get to the back bumper of the 07? He will not. Randall Phillips will bring home the final transfer spot here in heat race number 3.
Great racing in heat race number 3 here, as it was Kenny Thompson taking home the win. As heat number 4 is just the grid up. It's the LFOD Motorsports grid for heat race number 4. And this is how that looks. The number 51 of James Curl will start on the inside of row number 1. His outside the interstate batteries, number 50 of Matthew Kimball. Tyler Learley in the car number 56 will start third. Outside of him, the number 11 of Brian Town. Jacob Torman in car number 79 will start 5th. Outside of him, Jeffrey Battle in car number 14. Kevin Pitzinger in car number 30 will start 7th, and shotgun on the field. The 43 of David Elliott, as the 04 of Blake Clark was scheduled this one, but did not take to the grid as of yet, as the field rolls around here in heat race number 4.
Al, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the final heat race, or I believe, if my math might be right, we might actually have one more to go yet tonight?
We have one more. 5 heat races here tonight, so this is number 4. One more to go after this one, so they'll lock in 20 cars out of heat races, Roger, so the dance is starting to get
cars
filled
out of
up.
heat race, right?
Well, 19, no, 4 out of 4 times 5 is 20. Plus 1. Plus 1 from the time trials.
Well, I'm glad you're good at math over here tonight. Got to put the old thinking cap on here.
It's all right. The Accelerated Motorsports car number 51 on the inside. That's James Curl. He's going to lead them to the green flag for heat race number 4 as the green drops. And so does the loud pedal as we're underway with heat race number 4.
Yeah, as they go into turn 1, it looks like Curl going to get that really good start in the 51 machine. They're going to put them side by side, though. It's the Napa Know-How 56 machine of Leary. And I believe, is that the 11 of Brian Town on the outside? Brian, one of your street stock winners at Claremont, as a champion, as he is going to find himself into the 3rd spot here as they single file out, but I believe that's the 14 of Jeffrey Battle going around in this Robestus number 14 machine. The yellow flag will fly here with 10 to go in heat race number 4.
Yeah, the first yellow flag flying in heat race number 4 will slow James Curl down, who was up to a second lead in just a short amount of times with that number 51. So looking very sporty. His sharp looking race car also out there with his Accelerated Motorsports number 51 leading. I really like that interstate car though, Roger. It brings back some good memories from back in the Joe Gibbs early days with Dale Jarrett and Bobby Labonte.
Yeah, a little contact there between the 14 and the 79 of Thornman, which turns the 14 of Battle to the inside, and Battle, though, is going to be able to restart here at the tail of the field, so it's not really too much lost as we take our first yellow flag here in heat race number 4. Yeah, Al, that's an iconic car paint scheme, if you will, on that number 50 of Kimball. Last week, Kimball had a really strong interstate batteries machine, just wasn't able to park it in victory lane. Maybe tonight here from the South Boston Speedway will do a little bit better for himself. Right now, he is locked into the main dance if he finishes inside the top 4.
Yeah, right now, can't do anything stupid as everybody that's probably third, the water gets a little bit hotter, but that 4th spot is boiling as the 56 of Tyler Leary is your last and final car in the transfer spot. He's got the 43 of David Elliott. I believe he started 8th on the grid in heat race number 4, so he's quickly moved up inside to the top 5, looking for one more spot to make it in to the show. So that 43 showing some speed here in heat race number 4.
So as this time by, the iRacing pace car light should go out, so we will have 5 laps to go when we take the green flag here. They've come down the backstretch, doubled up, 5 to go. James Curl, Matthew Kimball, Brian Town, and Tyler Leary right now are in the locked-in positions. Jacob Thorman, and David Elliott right there. Confused myself as we go green flag racing here, side by side into turn number 1. Out of 2, it looks like that inside lane's gonna give up a little out of the corner. Oh, somebody hard into the outside wall.
I believe that was the 11 of Brian Town, who is riding in your transfer spot, now going to get knocked out of it after a heavy contact with the outside retaining wall. I think that all started off at turn number 2, so we'll take a look here on the turn 3 replay.
Yeah, let's see if we can find that back at the trailer as the 11 of Brian Town will actually bring her down pit road. Let's rewind it back. This happened right off the restart in turn 3. So next time by here on this replay, you will see what happened to Brian Town in the 11 machine. Restarted in position number 3. It was, good enough. We talked about that was kind of the hot. Oh, contact there. Little tail slap from Tyler Leary to the front right there of Brian Town, and that's what's going to send Town around and into the outside wall, and now it's going to be rough for him because I believe he is now going to be shown 1 lap down.
Yeah, it looked like the 56 of Leary just made contact slightly off of turn number 2 there. It just bounced off the wall, and not being on a car on the inside, you got to be prepared for that. I mean, the 11 of Town did absolutely nothing wrong. Leary it didn't do anything wrong, just bounced off that wall and it shot him back down into the racing groove, and unfortunately it was Town that got the short end of that stick, as it looks like Leary has been moved to the end of the field here. So that moves him out of a transfer spot. That moves up Jacob Torman in car number 79 and the 43 of David Elliott now into a transfer spot, Roger.
So 2 of the guys who started at the tail of the field here, David Elliott and Jacob Thornman, will move themselves into the transfer spot and be put on the hot seat here. We'll go back racing with, I believe, it'll be a green-white checker attempt here in heat race number 4. Top 4 will advance. Everybody else goes to the last chance qualifier tonight. So as the lights are out, we will go back racing, this time by out of turn number 4.
Little extra distance racing as it coming towards you. As they come down the front stretch, green flag is back out. That time, Curl with a nice jump. He'll clear the 50 of Kimball. They'll switch lanes as now Kimball takes a look to the inside. Back there, they're side by side for the 4th spot. It was David.
Well, a big stack up going into 3. A couple cars up and over. The 14 of Battle is up and over. The 30 of Pitzinger is up and over on his lid. He's going to have to take the tow back to pit road, so that will bring us to a halt here as you see 2 drivers having to come down pit road. 3 now, Elliott, Battle, and Pitzinger. Let's rewind it back. We're going to have to take a look here and see exactly what happened to both those drivers, as your front 2 had a really good restart, kind of stacked them up here. It looks like maybe a little tire spin by Kimball, but we are watching that 43 machine. The 14 and the 30 all get together here. The 43 up into the outside wall. The 14 gives them a nudge, and unfortunately nowhere for a lot of these guys to go. It's that short track racing. It's the South Boston Speedway, and everybody kind of got wrapped up into that one.
It did. Glad to see everybody able to make it back into pit road.
As you take your LFOD Motorsports onboard camera with Brian Towns, I mean, the sea kind of just parted there for the 11 as you saw the 14 of Battle and the 30 there of Kevin kind of going all sorts of which ways. And I mean, Al, it's just that short track racing. Somebody scrapes the wall and you're not expecting it, and you're wrapped up in it yourself.
Yeah, it's very, very hard to avoid anything here at the South Boston Speedway. These cars are traveling very fast, and when things happen, they happen in a hurry, and it gets really caught up with it. But right now, it is the 56 O'Leary that's going to be shown in your 4th spot. Remember, Town is down 1 lap to your leaders here in heat race number 4. So as we look like we're got another green-white checkered attempt, the 51 of Curl and the 50 of Kimball. Been up there since the green flag is dropped. They're just wanting this one to get to the checkered flag so they can get ready to go in tonight's 250-lap main event. But how about Torman? We saw he was quick last week at Oxford in that Arctic Cat number 79. He sits there in your 3rd spot, kind of quietly, stalking the prey like a cat would do.
Yeah, who will wind up winning heat race number 4 here tonight. Right now, the 4 drivers that are on the lead lap are locked in. Brian Town, though, would like to see if he could get himself locked in, the Claremont Street Stock champion back in 2018. Right now, we're sitting on the outside looking in, but this time we will drop the green flag for another green-white checker. Attempt here as the iRacing pace car is going to make the left-hand turn. The green flag is waving once again here at South Boston. 2 laps to go here in heat race number 4, and it looks like a good start. Oh, a little contact actually going down into turn number 1 between Kimball and that number 51 of Curl, but they single file out. Your 3rd position right now is Tyler Leary, and Jacob Thornman is sitting there running in that 4th spot. Last lap here from South Boston for heat race number 4.
And it's Curl showing command as the 50 of Kimball got a little bit wheel spin off of turn numbers 3 and 4 as they come for the final time, and it'll be James Curl picking up the win. Kimball will come across the line in the 2nd spot, or Leary. Something happened to Kimball. Kimball will finish 5th, though, Roger, or 4th, excuse me, and lock himself in. But something happened into that 50 as heat race number 5 takes to the track.
Yeah, it looks like something either broke on that number 50, or maybe he thought the start-finish line was back there in turn 3 and lifted a little bit. But this is how heat race number 5 is going to take to the grid here tonight. It looks like it'll be the 42 of Teagan. Starting on the front row, as you're going to see on his car, it'll be the 23, sponsored by Michael Jordan. To his outside, it'll be last week's winner in the 28 of Danny Ware, the Tony Quadros entry. Starting on row number 2, in the 3rd spot, it'll be the 22 of Andrew Davis. Starting on row number 3, it'll be the 63 of Nick Mathis. Starting in the 5th position here, it's actually going to be the 9 of Aiden Young. And then it's Kendall Berry in the 85, starting in the 6th spot. Vernon Woodard is going to start in the 7th spot. Starting shotgun to the field, it'll be the 05. And Al, I think we had a little word with the driver of that 05 beforehand. He told us to not watch him because it's not pretty.
That's what he said, so I think that means our producer should just keep the camera on him.
Well, I think it might be watching Kyle Buck in that 05 come from the back of the field here. And well, see if he's able to pull one out here. Al, the iRacing pace car, though, about to duck in for heat race number 5.
And Tegan's going to take it in Ware on the front row. Heat race number 5 getting ready to go. 12 laps is the scheduled distance. Green flag is up, and they're back on the gas pedal down in the turn number 1. Where to the outside is the 23 on the inside. That is the Tegan. Dagnall, as Dagnall works to the inside of that Air Jordan's number 23, as they're still side by side at the line. Ware will be the leader of lap number 1.
Well, Ware picks up right where he left off last week in position number 1, as he looks like he's going to try and clear that 42, but he's not going to be able to by the time they get into turn 3. Maybe this time out of turn number 4, he's going to get it. They will single file out for your top 4 positions. You got to go all the way back here. It's Kyle Buck working the outside groove here, as I believe Ware was into the wall coming out of turn number 2.
Yeah, just scraped the wall again. Here comes Dagnall right to the inside, but it'll be Ware with the position. as they're side by side back here. It'll be Kyle Buck to the outside in the 05 of the 9 of Aiden Young. That's for your 6th spot. The 85 of Barry right there in front of him. He's all over the 22 of Andrew Davis. That's for your final transfer spot. Davis has it as it's a 3-car breakaway up front.
Yeah, the Articat 22 here tonight of Andrew Davis. He made the big dance last week, and then he had a little bit of handling issues go away on that 22. Let's see if he can find himself locked in, but there's a battle for the lead still. Where to the outside? That's where he has put that 28 machine. Dagnott has not been able to do anything down there on that inside road this time by. It'll be 6 laps to go here from South Boston for heat race number 5.
Next time by, or it is halfway sign. This time by will be 5 laps to go. The flagman will show him 5 laps to go off the corner. But Dagnall, he's not worried about that as he looks to the inside once again. But where would that move off the momentum on the outside? 2 grooves of racing showing up here in heat race number 5. The final one is where it gets a little bit loose. Dagnall will have to check up to stay off of him. That allows the 63 of Nick all in there as well. Roger, back to you.
Tongue-tied here from South Boston as the front 3 are getting a little bit racy. This time by it will be 3 laps to go. It's Ware, Dagnott, and Mathis. Back there in that 63, Andrew Davis still holds the final transfer position here. As this time by, it'll be 2 laps to go, and that 23 down to the inside, Jordan sponsor machine. Teagan is not giving up. They will go side by side. 2 laps to go here at South Boston tonight.
Side by side, wheel to wheel, this time off a turn number 2. They go down the backstretch. It'll be the 28 of Ware. He's got the 42 of Dagnall. They're dead even. Dagnall out front, but here comes Ware with the momentum on the outside. Side by side contact that time off a turn number 4. This time by, it'll be 1 lap to go. The white silk is flying. Ware now trying to get to the back bumper of the 42 of Dagnall. Did not appreciate that contact off turn number 4. He'll drop it low, but it'll be Dagnall picking up heat race number 5.
And your final transfer position will go to Andrew Davis. So the 42 of Teagan will lock himself in. Danny Ware, Nick Manathis, and Andrew Davis will all be transferred in to the A main event. Coming up in just a couple of moments, it will be your B main, and I believe we're going to go right into that, as it'll be 23 drivers coming to the starting grid. So we're going to go right into your B main here tonight from South Boston. Your B main starting lineup. On the front row, it'll be the 08 of Ryan Carmen. To his outside, it'll be the 66 VT of Mike Young. Starting behind them, it'll be Mark Creighton in the 46 New Hampshire. And then it's the street stock champion, the 11 of Brian Town. Caden Berry will start in the 5th position in the 85. Jarrett Curtis will start the 33 in position number 6. Dylan Tester in the 52. He'll roll off 7th. And how about this man, JH, in the 36? He will start 8th. 9th will be the 43 of David Elliott. Aiden Young will start in 10th and round out your top 10 drivers. Right there, starting in the 11th spot, it'll be the number 1 of Corey Plummer. Clark Brooks is 12th. Starting in the 13th spot would be the 93 of Jacob Heathcote, but it looks like he will not make the call to the grid. Kevin Pitzinger will start 14th. Vernon Woodard is 15th. Kirby Goodrich is in the 16th spot. Derek Stanhope is 17th. Dylan Brodew, mouthful, will start in the 18th spot. Blake Clark would start 19th, but he did not make the grid. Final starter here tonight will be the 05 of Kyle Buck.
Gotta be something in the water here at the South Boston Speedway. It's their last chance qualifier. 4 drivers will make their way into the feature. Everybody else will have to put on the trailer and try again next week. 25 laps is the distance here, Roger, as we get ready to go with our last chance qualifier.
iRacing base car is down and away, and right away the green flag is waving. This is the last chance qualifier here tonight. Down into turn 1. Somebody sideways. It's the 33, as they are going to wad him up real quick here. Yellow flag will fly in corner number 1, lap number 1 here of our B main. As the 33, and I'm looking at it, I think there's a lot more damage, Al, on that 33 than what Curtis really thinks is on that Logitech machine.
Yeah, right front looks pretty messed up. It looks like his dog walking probably knocked the rear end out of the back end of that 33. Gonna have to come down to their pit and see if they can get into the backup car here in this last chance qualifiers to get into position. But what a tough break to start your last chance qualifier and end up that messed up in turn number 1. Just unfortunate circumstance. We take a look at it at a turn 3 replay.
Yeah, it looks like a little net code there between the 33, and I believe that was the 64 Creighton there. The 9 is also going to get involved of Aiden Young, and I believe Kirby Goodwrench also there to that outside. And just nowhere to go for a couple of these drivers when the track wads up like that. As, you know, we talked about, it is a multi-groove track in the corners, but it really gets tight when you get down out of the corners, you know, into turn number 2, and that's where everybody kind of just came together. So the first caution flag going to wave here in our B main or last chance qualifier, taking 4 out of this. Right now, a couple drivers did not take to the grid. Jacob Heathcote, Blake Clark, Andrew Harmon, James Boyle, and Milton Duran did not take to the grid. So 18 drivers. Where are your 18 top drivers running? Well, for you race fans, we'll drop it down here on the left-hand side. Find your favorite driver. Where is he running? And what do you think, Al? We'll put the top 4 right there. There's your cutoff. Right now, it's Brian Town as your cutoff spot.
And Town was in a transfer spot in the 5th and final heat race. We saw how that ended up for the 11. So hopefully he's looking to make sure he gets into the big dance where he can try to get up towards the front of this one by the end of tonight. He's got 20 more circuits left to go in order to secure his spot in tonight's 250-lap main event coming up later here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Right now it is the 08 of Ryan Carmen and that Monster Energy Kit Kat 08 showing the way. Liking what he's seeing with the view of that pace car in front of him.
Well, I don't know if he really likes the view of the pace car, because let's be honest, Al, does anybody really like the Mustang?
I mean, I'm partial to it, but that's all right. I mean, the 08's a Hellcat. It looks pretty sharp out there.
Well, the 08, that is probably one of the better looking cars, because you don't see too many Hellcats out on the track, especially at these little short tracks like South Boston, because, I mean, they're a pretty expensive piece. Now, we understand that that's just a contingency file. It's just the sticker on the front of this Kit Kat machine. But what he does like to see is the lights on that Mustang are out, and we will go back green flag racing here with just, I believe, 18 to go here.
It'll be 18 laps to go, and they cross the stripe when the green flag drops once again in the last chance qualifier. 4 spots on the line to get into the big one. Here tonight, the green flag is out, and we're back underway.
Side-by-side battle there. Carmen going to go down to the inside, but that Hellcat Kit Kat machine is not able to help himself, as that 66 VT is going to go up to the outside line, and we got a yellow flag. It looks like the 2 of James Boyle, Jarrett Curtis, Aiden Young, and Dylan. I think Kyle Buck may have been involved in that also, so we will have to see on the Turn 3 Racing replay. Let's just throw it back right away. What happened? This is right off the restart. Let's go from our center camera, showing you all the action. Look at Jarrett Curtis. He's going to start a little bit back here. Focus on the 2 here of James Boyle. James was running in that 19th spot.
Yeah, it looked like the 45 car of Dylan Bordeaux possibly got the outside wall there, causing the 05 of Buck to come down and this contact. One of those chain reaction things that happen here at the South Boston Speedway.
So a couple guys getting involved in it. We'll throw it back here one more time. I believe we have an onboard camera roll bar shot here from the driver of the 33. This is your LFOD roll bar camera tonight. There was absolutely nowhere Jarrett Curtis was going to go in that 33 machine. You saw it just like how he saw it, and it was hectic coming off of turn number 2. Well, right now, Mike Young is the one in the catbird seat singing, or not singing, but seeing what he likes is, I guess, a Mustang out front, Al.
Well, of course, everybody likes to see that Mustang out front, as long as it's a race car Mustang, not the pace car. We don't like to see a pace car Mustang.
Well, right now it's 15 laps to go. Mike Young driving the 66 VT here tonight does have himself at the top of the running order. Right behind him is Ryan Carmen, Brian Towns, and Mark Creighton right now are currently in your top 4 positions. JH back there in the 36, just peeking in. He's a window shopper currently.
He's moved up since the start of this feature too, but he started back in the 8th position, the number 36 of JH. He's back there in the 5th spot. David Elliott in 6th, Dylan Tester 7th. 8th is Clark Brooks. Kevin Pitzinger in the number 30 is 9th, and rounding out your top 10, Kirby Goodrich in that number 7.
Al, I'm noticing something here. Is that 7 supposed to maybe be a Tiger?
It could be.
Maybe we're going to have a Tiger King in the big dance here tonight, but it looks like the iRacing lights are off. So we will get these bad boys wound up here at South Boston. It's going to be 13 laps here. It's going to be 12 laps when we take the green flag, and a little bit of check up there, but the green flag is back out. That 66 VT down to the inside for Mike Young, and now he's going to get high-sided here. Ryan Carmen going to drive her off into the corner, but there is no contact out of 2. But it looks like that 08 had that outside lane rolling for a moment. This time, out of turn number 4, it's going to be Mike Young leading the way.
Big stack up to 46, all out of shape. Here comes the 43. The 7's going to go around. Yellow flag will go again as the 7 of Kirby Goodrich looked like contact in off turn number 2. They all got stacked up in turn number 3 and just nowhere to go. We'll take a look at it here on our turn 3 replay.
Yeah, let's see if we can cue that replay up. A bunch of them stacked up here on the front straightaway. Well, let's see if we can find where Kirby Goodrich is. We know he's involved in this one. Right off the restart we go, watching the 7 of Kirby Goodrich. Kirby looks pretty good there. Where is the big stack up going to come? Well, the 43 is almost got a little out of shape, and that caused Kirby to go to the outside. And then the 43 is going to drift up. He will hit the 7, and then it's on. Wow, the track just pretty much clogs up there.
Yeah, this typical South Boston there. It looked like the 08 of Carmen had issues in the turn number 3. That stacked up the outside with Creighton. And then I don't know how they made it off turn number 3 there, Roger, or off turn 4. They were 3 wide down the front stretch, which usually doesn't bode very well for the rest of the straightaway. But they made it into turn number 1 and just slight contact with the 7 of Kirby, and that caused the yellow as a big pile up down the back stretch. But it seems like some of these guys got back in their backup car that their crews had ready, and they're able to come back out and manage to finish this LCQ, which has 8 laps remaining right now. So this LCQ going by quick.
Yeah, that'd be just even a little bit, probably right around 5 to go. When we take the green flag here, it looks like we won't have to go to overtime just yet. The track crew has got that track prepped and ready to roll. It'll be Young and Town, Carmen, and JH inside the top 4 currently into those transfer positions. Only taking 4 out of this B main into the main dance tonight.
Here we have 17 cars left on the track. It looks like the 7 of Kirby Goodrich has taken his number 7 behind the wall, put it on a trailer. He'll come back next week when we head to the USA Speedway for race number 3. But up front, it is Mike Young. It's interesting to note here, he's taken the outside. The leader does have lane choice, but the 66 of Young taking the outside. He's got Brian Town in that Fury, number 11, down on the inside of him. 08 of Carmen on the inside, and then we got JH, Joel Hogdon, in the 4th and final transfer spot right now. So we get ready to go with the LCQ going back green.
Yeah, it'd be 5 to go here for Mike Young and Brian Town as they dance on the front row here. A little bit of cat game played there, but it's going to be a good start by both of them. Young is actually going to sail it in there, and it's going to stick. Brian Town is going to actually take the lead here with 4 laps to go. A little contact back there. The 08 machine going backwards here late.
Yeah, the 05 of Buck putting on a show as he's sideways through the corner, but the transfer spot is JH gets the wall off turn number 2. Everybody keeps it clean and green as Creighton. We got a pile up now in the backstretch. We've got a parking lot.
A couple of them come to a stop here out of turn number 2. It looks like Corey Plummer is going to be involved. Kyle Buck is involved in this one, so it'll bring your last chance qualifier to a little bit of a halt at the moment. We will rewind it back and see exactly what we can here, but we can tell you Kyle Buck, David Elliott, and I believe Derek Stanhope all wrapped up in this one. There you see the 5 already sideways down on the inside lane. He comes back up, and it looks like the 25 there of Brooks going to lose it. The 05 of Buck is involved, and David Elliott, I believe that was. So a couple drivers going to come to a rest along that inside wall there, Al. But now we're going to head to overtime here to decide who is going to make the big show at South Boston tonight.
Last chance to make it into the show, and everybody's up on the wheel. Brian Town making a nice move to take your race lead, so he is your race leader. Him and Mike Young, all they got to do is keep it pointed in the right direction. They're in a pretty good spot to make it in. But then you got JH in the number 36 in the 3rd spot, and Mark Creighton in that 46. We saw he was good in the heat race, but just missed it by 1 spot. He's found himself into the 4th position right now. So he's in the last transfer spot. But Caden Berry, I've been watching this driver through the whole LCQ. He's been able to pick off a driver here and there, and he sits there now in your 6th spot. It now looks like the 33 of Curtis has gotten a lap back here, so he'll be marked in your 13th spot. But yeah, what an exciting LCQ. 250 laps of more excitement headed up as soon as this LCQ is done. It's South Boston. I love this track.
Yeah, it's proven some good racing so far here tonight. Race fans tuning in here on the YouTube side of things, we hope you're enjoying the show that you see here from the Northeast Racers, presented tonight by the LFOD Motorsports Group. This is your last chance qualifier or your B main to get into the big show here tonight. Only going to take the top 4. And it's Curtis, Towns, Young, and JH currently right now in those 4 transfer positions. We will double back up here. We will get a green-white checker coming to you. 2 more laps of racing action here at South Boston.
Pace car going to take that left-hand turn, this time off of turn number 4 of the field, back in the Flaggers Grand Hand, and we're back underway. We're racing down to turn number 1. Town will get a nice entry into turn number 1. He's got the position. Here comes the 66 of Young. He works to the outside as they work through turns 3 and 4. This time off of 4, the white silk will fly. 1 more lap to go in the last chance qualifier.
Yeah, and the battle is right there for that final position. Yellow flag going to come out. Carl Brooks is turned around in the 25 machine and the 52 of Dylan Tester. Both those drivers are turned around on the back straightaway. We will see if we, I believe we get 1 more attempt, I think it is, Al. Let's check out the replay here and see what happened between these 2 drivers. There you see the 52 of Tester. Oh, he goes down. I think he hits the inside wall going into turn number 3. And then the 25 goes to gas it up. The 45 noses the 25 into the 52. And around both those drivers go here. And it looks like the 25 of Brooks had to take the tow back to pit road. And the 52 would rejoin the back of the field.
Okay, he's the last car on the lead lap right now as he's right behind the pace car. So he'll get the wave around once we get the 2 to go. Or the 1 to go, excuse me, here on the pace car. So the LCQ standing up for the last chance, and these guys are throwing everything at it to get to the last chance to be into tonight's main event. 25 spots. We had 45 drivers show up here at the South Boston Speedway for the Northeast Racers Super Late Model Series presented by the LFOD Motorsports. And we're going to send 20 drivers home here tonight, Roger. A big number of cars not going to make tonight's main event.
So right now, sitting in those 4 transfer spots are Town, Young, Creighton, JH right now in that 39 VT machine. See if he can hold on, because Caden Berry right there in the Motor Masters 85. He's been pretty quick, but also remember Carmen back here in the 08 Monster Kit Kat machine, the Hellcat. He is also right there, and just 1 slip up here at South Boston could definitely put you from the outside to in and inside out really quick here tonight. We've seen a couple guys. Remember back in your heat race, Brian Town, who is now your leader he was safely inside the transfer position from his heat race to go to the big dance, and all of a sudden, malfunction equipment problems out of the pits there. I heard over the radio from Town's crew. That car made a right-hand turn, nose-dived into the fence, and right now he has to try and battle to keep his position in the big dance tonight.
He does. He's hoping to capitalize, get this win, lock himself into the show. Driver on a hot seat right now, the 46 of Mark Creighton and the number 36 of Joel Hadston as they work off of turn number 4. Green flag is back out. We're back underway here for the last chance qualifier.
Down into turn 1 they go side by side for your front, well, call it 10 positions. Out of turn number 2, a little bobble there by the 08 of Carmen. He's going to hang on to the Hellcat. We're going to take the white flag this time by. It's Towns going to take the white flag first. They're going to stack him up behind the 36, but we get the white flag, so we're going to finish this one. Who will come into that last transfer spot? Right now, it's showing, I believe, is a Caden Berry into the final spot.
Here comes Young to the inside of him, gave him the bumper, but it'll be Berry at the line, being your last chance in the is hard contact after the checkered flag. Safety crews rushing out to turn number 2 as that's going to put a wrap on our LCQ. Looks like Brian Town, Mike Young, Mark Creighton, and Caden Berry will be your 4 cars transferring into tonight's main event.
So your A main event, your feature event here tonight coming at you in just a moment. We will see if we have a warm-up. We do have the 2-minute warm-up here. So as we have this 2-minute warm-up, race fans, we're going to take a quick commercial break here on the Turn 3 Racing Network, and we'll be right back to bring you the action for the LFOD Motorsports Northeast Racers here from the South Boston Speedway.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was always fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos or danger until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all will be kept in the pits. Not to mention that with members in over 130 countries already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series and work your way up to one of 7 world championships, offering over $500,000 in prize money. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Welcome back here, race fans, to the South Boston Speedway. While we have a little time here, we got to thank the sponsors for tonight's race. The LFOD Motorsports Group. You can find them. They sell used cars to all you drivers that are looking for it. Claremont Motorsports Park. A lot of the drivers you see here tonight, race fans, race at the Claremont Motorsports Park. Hudson Speedway, the family fun racetrack. Another couple of these drivers are out of there. Lee Speedway USA. Where we race is why we race. And Mattanock Speedway, I know I butchered it, race fans, but we really got to thank the New Hampshire Short Track Racing Association as your field starts to take to the grid. And while they take to the grid, let's walk you through your qualifying order for tonight for your LFOD Motorsports, a main feature event tonight. Starting on the front row with the quick time earlier in our practice, or in our qualifying session, it'll be the 09 of Jeremy Davis. To his outside. I believe that is wrong. Let's see if we can get the right one for you, race fans. We don't want to disappoint you here tonight. There it is, the 4 of Jonathan Lemay. Starting on row number 2. Starting in the 3rd position, it'll be the 12 of Tony Quadros and Kenny Thompson. Row number 3. It'll be James Curl and Tegan Dagnott. Row number 4, it'll be the 24 of Alan Young and Jarrett Howard. Row 5 here tonight, it's the 34 of Zach Nicholson. Tyler Larry in the 56. Row number 6, it's last week's winner of Danny Ware and Stephen Dickey Jr. Starting on row number 7, it's Justin Benkowski in the 91 and Kyle Bingham in the 77 machine tonight. Row 8, it's going to be Jacob Thornton and Nick Mathesis. Row number 9, it's David Greenslit and Kyle Willis in the 55. Starting row 10 here, it's the 07 of Randall Phillips and Matthew Kimball. Row number 11, it's Andrew Davis in the 22 and Brian Town in the 11. Starting on row number 12, it's Mike Young transferring in and Mark Creighton. And I believe starting shotgun to the field here, it's Kendall Berry. But Al, big game changer. I believe last week's winner has to go all the way to the back of this main event to try and work his way through.
Yeah, it looks like the 28 of Ware going to the back of the field. So as the pace car is getting ready to go, we're getting ready to go. Green flag, 250 laps here at the South Boston Speedway.
iRacing pace car is down and away. The green flag is waving here at South Boston. We are racing 250 laps here tonight. Let's see who's going to be able to win the battle. Out of turn number 1 and 2, it looks like that is Jeremy Davis will lead the first lap. Actually, now out of turn number 4, just like that.
Yeah, LeMay clipping him just at the line of that number 4 car. We saw he was very quick on the outside of Oxford Plains last week. And that 250 lap season opener for these drivers is now Davis working that bottom side by side to Thompson right there in third.
Back across the line, and yes, it was LeMay that was able to hold off that 09 machine at the line there. And now LeMay will lead again, lap number 2, a little bit farther back in the field there, side by side. That's the 24 of Alan Young to the inside, and that's Tyler Larry there in the 56 Napa Know-How machine. They are following the 12 car right now, the number 12 of Tony Quadros. Oh, the 56 is going to slip out of line there, slap the outside wall. Now here comes Alan Young. He's going to try and work over the 12 of Tony Quadros as they work down into turn number 1.
Young is really rolling the bottom right now early on in this 250 lap feature as we are already quickly working lap number 5 this time by contact. One car going around, the 77 of Bingham getting into the back bumper, it looked like, of the 98 of Dickey, as Dickey has gone for the slide as we're under caution for the first time here tonight.
So the first caution flag of the night going to wave here on lap number 6. And we will throw it back to see who is involved in this one. There you see Stephen Dickey in his 98 Hudson Speedway sponsored machine tonight. Let's see where the contact is going to come as everybody stacks up on the bottom lane there. Here comes the Northeast Racer 77. A little bump there going into the corner, going to send Dickey around. And is anybody else wrapped up and involved in this? It actually looks like he's able to keep going. But that Stephen Dickey machine going to go around off the bumper of the 77 of Kyle Bubble Bingham.
Yeah, it looked like he had to get a tow to the pit road. So the 98 of Dickey on pit road waiting for the tow truck to drop him. So tough break as he's going to go down at least 2 laps now as LeMay is your race leader.
And I am getting confirmation that the 77 of Bingham will now have to start at the back of the field here when we take the green flag, as now he's going to come down pit road. Not sure if it's a stop and hold penalty or what here for Bingham, but he will start shotgun to the field. Jonathan LeMay, Jeremy Davis, Kenny Thompson, and Tegan Dagnat. Right now, your top 4 drivers. 5th is Alan Young.
Young was really impressing me on the bottom. They're rolling the bottom. He got underneath the 12 of Quadros. Looks like the 77 of Bingham just coming down top off fuel, maybe work on some damage after contact with the 98 of Dickey, as he's already off and away. It's noted here, Roger, they cannot take tires until after lap 125, and they're only eligible to get tires at the first yellow flag after lap 125. So these drivers have to be smart with tire conservation here at the South Boston Speedway, along with trying to make it 250 laps.
Yeah, and it's not if we get to the 125 marker that they're going to throw the yellow here tonight either, Al. So these drivers, if it's a long run right around lap 125, it could be till 200 till we get that caution flag. 10 laps going to be in the books here when we go back green flag racing. Let's see those iRacing pace car lights out. They are. We will go back green flag racing with 240 laps here at the South Boston Speedway to go.
Yeah, no surprise up front. The number 4 LeMay going to take the outside. We saw him use it to the outside to get the lead early in this one. You like the outside at Oxford Plains. He is your race leader. The 09 of Davis kind of laying back a little bit, trying to get a run. Now LeMay will step on the gas pedal, bring the 42 of Dagnall right to him on the outside. Side by side through turns 1 and 2 they come. It'll be Davis holding on to your second spot. Here comes Thompson back to the inside of Dagnall through turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, as we come back to complete the first lap of green flag, there it is. And Kenny Thompson right now trying to hold off Alan Young. Or sorry, Tegan Dagnall. Right behind them is Alan Young. That's trying to figure out which lane is going to be the preferred lane here. It looks like that 23 machine or 42. However, race fans, you want to look at it tonight of Tegan. Slip for a moment, but that outside lane is really ripping here out. I am very impressed in the early going. One of them going to go around towards the mid-pack. And I believe it was off track, so we stay green flag.
Green flag staying out. LeMay showing away. Thompson now trying to hold off the number 24 of Young. Young working to the outside, this time into turn number 3. He'll make the pass on Thompson. So Alan Young rolling that 24 quickly to the front as he sits in your 4th position.
A little bit farther back in the field in the 8th spot, it's David Greenslet. He's trying to bring that LFOD Motorsports machine up through this field. He is run right now in the 8th position as he just worked around Tyler Leary down to the inside. Right now, Tyler in his Napa machine stuck down to the bottom because Randall Phillips is going to go around him in the 07 machine. Right now, your top 10 drivers have single filed out. Somebody bouncing off the outside wall there. I believe that might have been the 91 of Justin Benkowski. He banks it off the wall, but he was able to control the car. So we stay green flag racing. Here comes Kyle Willis, now putting pressure to that 91.
Yeah, Willis working the inside with his Traxxas RC. Working number 55 to the bottom of the 22 of Davis. He'll make the move. Here comes the 51 of Curl. Curl working to the bottom side of the speedway, being able to roll as they work off of turn number 2 and down the backstretch side by side in the turn number 3. It'll be the 51 taking the position. That is Curl moving into your 14th spot. So Davis right now stuck on the outside, not liking the way how it feels. He might be saving some tires riding up there right now too also, Roger.
Yeah, we have seen a very fast outside line here. But right now, somebody, it looks like Thompson, I believe, in the 39 has disappeared off our timing and scoring. So Kenny Thompson, maybe something going wrong with him, and now he's back, and now he has dropped off our timing scoring once again.
Yeah, an electrical issue on the number 39 as he is running inside the top 4. As now he's slotted back as he's back out. Yellow flag is back out. Comes back out, not back out. Comes back out for the second time. Here's a field slows on lap number 21.
Yeah, and it looks like that's the 22 of Andrew Davis. We were just talking about him trying to possibly ride that high side. What happened to Andrew Davis? We'll have to look back here in just a moment, but we will come to a halt here for the second time tonight. Well, let's turn back the Turn 3 Racing replay and see as he was battling Danny Ware. I believe that was for the 14th position at time. We'll have to see what happens. Oh, slight contact there out of turn 4. They make contact, and around goes the 22 of Andrew Davis. So 2 cars coming together. Call it a 1-car spin. Here on lap number 20 is what brings us to the yellow flag.
Very, very easy to do here, and very lucky that only one car, really both cars, made inside contact with the inside wall down the front stretch, but that could have been much bigger. And speaking from experience here, it's very difficult to be the inside car, especially as the tires start heating up. That front wants to slide up off the corner, Roger, and it's very, very, you got to be very patient on the throttle. You're steering, the cars step out on the gas. It's easy to get back on the gas, so very lucky that the 28 and the 22 are able to continue on here in tonight's feature event after contact off turn number 4.
So right now it looks like one driver getting the wave by, and I believe that's Stephen Dickey in his 98 machine, so possibly going green flag racing next time by here.
Yeah, that'll bring Stephen Dickey just 2 laps behind the latest leader. So we know we had trouble early on in this feature event, but the good news for the driver and the team of the 98 is it happened really early. 226 laps left to go, so plenty of time for that driver to get back on the lead lap and then get back to the front, as he was very racy early on in this feature event.
So this time by looking for the iRacing pace car lights to go out here at South Boston so we can get back to the green flag racing. As there it is, Jonathan LeMay will take the outside here. He's going to put Jeremy Davis, who had your quick time in our qualifying session, down to the inside again. See if he's able to hold him off going forward. Still 225 laps. It'll be 224 laps to go here at the South Boston Speedway for your Northeast Racers, presented by the LFOD Motorsports Group. iRacing pace car lights are off. Here we go, getting ready to go. iRacing pace car down and away. Jonathan LeMay going to hit the throttle here in South Boston, and we are back to green flag racing. Here comes the 09 of Jeremy Davis down to the inside. He is going to see if he can work that inside groove. He will not. It's going to be Jonathan LeMay taking back the lead, but here comes that 24 of Alan Young. Slow and steady. He's been working his way through the field. Now he finds himself running third, and everybody starts to single file out already inside the top 10.
Yeah, the side-by-side battle back there with the 56 O'Leary as the 24 of Young will slide into your third spot right now, but Leary was still side-by-side. They come off turn number 4. What a gaggle of cars down the front stretch into turn number 1.
Yeah, that 56 there, Leary currently not able to get off the bottom. Nick and his flamed 63 machine will work to the outside. Now it's going to be James Curl working to the outside. The outside lane is rolling here at South Boston, and now it looked like Leary was going to go up the track, but now he's not. Benkowski is there in the 91. Now it looks like he has help, or not help, but he has another contender down on that inside lane, and that's the 63 of Nick.
Yeah, that time Leary got a little bit loose off of turn number 4. He's got allowed the 50 of Kimball and the 77 of Bingham to get by, and there's another car filling the hole of the 55 as we got the 91 of Benkowski going around. Everybody keeping it clean. We're staying under green, as that was the 91 of Benkowski going for a little bit of slide that time in turn number 4.
So Benkowski goes for the slide, and we stay green flag racing. That's going to stretch everybody out, as Benkowski has a little bit of damage on the the left side of that 91 machine. A little left side damage out I don't think is going to hurt here at the South Boston Speedway.
No, that shouldn't hurt him at all, especially with it being in the door as they work down the backstretch into turn number 3. Everybody kind of single filed out, kind of spreaded the field out. So right now the drivers are clicking off laps, 217 laps left to go, as it is Jonathan LeMay out front by 0.7 of a second over our fast time award winner tonight here, the 09 of Jeremy Davis, as Davis rides there in your number 2 spot.
Tony Quadro's running back there in your 5th spot right now. He rounds out the top 5, running in the 10th position currently is that 63 of Nick Benathis. But I'm looking at it, David Greenslid slid up the track there, and that allowed that 51 of James Curl to get down to the inside, and now Greenslid will lose that position to James Curl.
Curl has been steadily marching his way up through the rankings as he finds himself up to 7th so far early on in this race. 36 laps are complete in his accelerated motorsports number 51. As they work off of turn number 4, Curl really running that bottom very well. Kind of enters a little bit high, rolls the apex. It gets a nice run off the corner. As you see him, he just gains ground on the 34 Nicholson right there in front of him.
He gains ground as Greenslid starts to lose a little ground. Brake rotors are glowing here at the South Boston Speedway as the sun starts to go down. The lights will come on before tonight's event is over. And right now, Randall Phillips all over the back here of David Greenslid. This is the biggest pressure out there on track by any of these drivers, and it's right inside the top 10. Everybody still single filed out. You'd have to go maybe even farther back. I believe 14th position here is the 55 of Kyle Willis and Tyler Leary, as they are battling for that 13th and 14th position currently. That Trax is 55, working the bottom lane. The Napa Know-How is up the track. Willis will take that 13th position with command right now, but he's looking to try and get around the 77 of Kyle Bingham, who runs currently in that 12th position. A little scrape there for Bingham as he went down into the corner. He's going to ride the high line.
Curl working the backside of Nicholson. Nicholson slow off of turn number 2. That allows the 51 of Curl right to the back bumper. They tried to make a move on him last time by, and he wasn't able to do it as Nicholson slammed the door shut. Now Curl to the inside off turn number 2. Curl working the bottom downward, getting some traction up off the corner, but Nicholson not able, slamming the door shut once again. They come off turn number 4.
As these two battle for that 6th and 7th position right now, that's going to leave Greenslid and Phillips. They're going to start to close the gap here on these guys, as Nichols right now just not able to pull away. Oh, he's going to come down off the racing surface. Unscheduled pit stop here on lap 45 for the 34 of Zach Nicholson.
Yeah, Nicholson coming down pit road and has stopped in his pit stop, so something going awry on to number 34 as he was inside the top 10. That'll move Curl up to 6 as he looks to chase down the number 12 of Tony Quadros, who sits there in your 5th spot. Now then Greenslet right there in 6th now, or 7th spot with Phillips right there following him. So the 55 of Willis now is under fire from the 56 O'Leary back there for your 12th spot.
Couple cars having a little bit of blink issue, I believe. That's the 46 there of Mark Creighton. He is the final car on your lead lap, but Jonathan LeMay is out front. And if we go on board here with Jonathan LeMay, this is his point of view around the South Boston Speedway, and he has started to close in on lap traffic. So lap traffic in just a couple of laps may play a factor into this one in tonight's A main event, or your feature event, whatever race fans you would like to call it. It says feature number 2, Al, but we all really know this is the main event tonight.
Yeah, main event, 250 laps was the scheduled distance, whereas we worked lap number 48, or 49, as we're almost 50 laps into the books, and LeMay starting to close in on the back of the field, the 46 of Creighton there. And one thing I'm noticing is some of the drivers towards the mid and back of the field starting to work the raceways. Creighton will pull down to the infield off of turn number 2, so his night might be done as Creighton will come down pit road as he was in your 20th position. It is LeMay showing the way, but track temperature is up 4 degrees, Roger, and what does that mean? That means that the bottom line is going to start heating up. These guys are going to get a little bit slippery down there. I think you're going to start seeing guys move up the raceway. They pick up some time.
Yeah, here's the battle back here for the 14th spot. It's Brian Town right now holding the 14th spot. Caden Berry would really like to have it. Justin Benkowski right behind them. And how about last week's winner, Danny Ware, with the Tony Quadros entry? He currently has not been able to work his way back through the field after starting shotgun to the field here tonight in your main event at South Boston. So that's something that these guys are going to have to work with. You know, this week it's Danny Ware that had to start at the back of the field. Right now, if the race would end, it would be Jonathan LeMay that would have to start out back next week when we head to, I believe, it's the USA Speedway, or USA International Speedway down there in Florida. So just keep a mindset on that, race fans. Whoever wins tonight here will have to go to the back, just like Danny Ware. Jonathan LeMay, though, starting to head even deeper into lap traffic. It's going to be the 22 of Andrew Davis next on the chopping block. We'll see how much Andrew Davis is really trying to fight with Jonathan LeMay. So it's LeMay, Davis, and Young, currently your top 3 here at South Boston after 56 laps tonight of racing.
And Terry working the back bumper of the number 55 of Willis. Closest battle on the speedway right now is for that 12th and 13th position. And you look behind him, Brian Town is trying to hold off Barry. As Barry and Town running the same line, but look how high the 11 of Brian Town is working the speedway. I think you're going to see that as this run goes on. We're going to get higher and higher up on the speedways. Now Barry will take a look to the inside of Town.
Here comes that 85 of Caden Berry. But right there, it's just a 4-car gaggle right now. These are your only cars that are really battling it out on track, because Jonathan LeMay, who you see going around Andrew Davis just out of the camera picture, he is a lap down, and it looks like he will just let your leader go right on by. So we stay right here with the battle for the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th position, as these guys are not giving up. Caden Berry still working the bottom groove. A lot of guys, like you said, Al, have started to migrate up the track. And as these guys start to migrate up the track, though, and not run that bottom lane, it's going to cool down that bottom lane, and then you're going to be able to go down there and use it just like you saw Caden Berry do. It may have taken him a couple of laps, but now he is looking to nose ahead of the 11 here of Town.
Yeah, Barry will clear the number 11 of Town. Here comes Ware. He's looking to the bottom side now of the 11 of Town. It's like Town's car very tight right now, so it may have overheated that right front tire early in this run. You see how much his rotors are glowing, as Ware now will take a look to the inside of this Tony Quadros, sponsor number 28.
Yeah, and as these guys battle, it looks like your leader is now to the next one. And that'll be Mike Young. Another driver pulling down out of the Ray is going to be Stephen Dickey Jr. He is going to go 3 laps down to your leader. And Jonathan LeMay, Al, remember, we talked about him having almost a second lead a little while ago. That is down now to just 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, Davis has really closed in on the back bumper of that number 4 car off of turn number 4 once again. And how much of that is due to being in lap traffic? LeMay being very easy and surgical about how he's passing these lap cars. But now JD Davis right there, back there in your number 2 spot, closing in underneath about 5 car lengths off the back bumper of that number 4.
They have about a 1.5 second lead over Alan Young right now, who is still out there running in that 3rd position. James Curl is sitting there 5th, and Tegan Dagnat going to round out the top 5. How about Tony Quadros, though? His Illumina number 12 has been into the outside wall, but right now, I guess you want to say the sponsor is out driving the driver of David Greenslit. So right now, Tony is sick. David is running in the 7th position. Randall Phillips, he's been having a good night. He is running 8th. Nick Manathis is right there running 9th, and Kyle Bingham is right now rounding out the top 10 positions on track as we are working our longest run here of the night.
Yeah, now LeMay working to the bottom side of Young. Young does not want to give up that spot lightly. He's trying to stay on the lead lap. This time we'll give way off turn number 2 as they come side by side as Young and Town are battling for position. But here comes Davis. Davis right to the back bumper of LeMay, this time off turn number 4. That is a tough sledding for your race leaders.
Yeah, your race leaders in heavy lap traffic now as they go around the 11 there of Towns. That is the 17th position driver on track. He is battling with Mike Young in the 66 VT. So now Jonathan LeMay gets out of that traffic jam, and now Jeremy Davis is going to be able to clear. So your front 2 drivers have cleared lap traffic, and man, Jeremy Davis is just running down that Jonathan LeMay number 4 machine. His car was good on that short run. You talk about it being lap traffic. You see your leaders have now gone back down to the bottom groove here at South Boston.
Yeah, 3rd place driver now working on a side-by-side battle for position between Mike Young and Brian Town. But your 3rd place driver, Alan Young, how patient is he going to be as he come off of turn number 4, trying to close in on your race leaders, as he's going to put them 3 wide off turn number 2. Will that work? Somehow it does.
Yeah, and that was a dangerous move when you saw the 51 of James Curl literally throw the anchor out the back of that 51 machine. He did not want anything to do with that. He hit the brakes, and that's going to allow the 24 of Young to actually scoot away a little bit. But I believe that was a smart move by James Curl and a very daring move by Alan Young in that 24 machine.
Yeah, Young knowing he had to get by those guys. He had Curl bearing down on him. But he also sees the leaders getting smaller in front of him as they work down the backstretch. Davis is there. Davis is all over the back bumper of that Silt Sock, New Hampshire, number 4 of Jonathan LeMay.
Yeah, it's the battle for the lead, and it's a battle to see who's going to get to the traffic first. Davis is going to go down there and put the left side tires on the apron. It actually gives him a really good turn that time. He's actually going to pull side by side with Jonathan LeMay as they come out of turn number 4. LeMay is going to come back and cross the start-finish line first. He has led 76 laps here tonight so far, but now Jeremy Davis, who was your pole setter, your quick time in qualifying, has now found a new line around here that a lot of drivers are not running, and it's down there to the bottom. If he can just hold that 09 down there when they run into the back of Justin Bankowski, that could put LeMay into a little bit of a pickle and use that lap down car of Bankowski as a pick.
Yeah, I think Davis is trying to calculate that, but he is rotating the bottom really well right now as they work lap 78 as they work down the backstretch. But LeMay getting a nice run off the top side, so LeMay using the high side to hold Davis at bay, but how long can he do it, and will Bankowski get out of the way when the leaders get there, or will that be a block situation as Davis was now alongside him off turn number 2?
Yeah, a little bit of a slide there for Davis out of turn number 2, but he will rebound and he will go right back down to the inside of Jonathan LeMay. This is the battle for the lead here on lap 81, looking off the back bumper here of the 16th place runner. Running 16th is Justin Bankowski right now in the 91 machine. He has not been able to work his way back up, and now he's in jeopardy of going a lap down to your leaders. And I'm looking at it now. They have only lost about a half second since their quick time that was posted. Jonathan LeMay, quick time tonight was a 14.530. And right now, last time by, he only ran a 15.1. So the tires really aren't falling off that much here at South Boston.
No, not yet. They've taken care of their tires, I believe, as Davis is kind of he didn't really battle that hard at the start of this race. LeMay got the lead, and he kind of said, all right, go ahead. Go wear your stuff out, and I'm going to see you later. And, well, guess what? Later is right now is Davis all over the back bumper of LeMay. LeMay using the high side of the speedway. Now, Bankowski will go to the inside, so it'll be interesting to see what Davis does as they come through turns 3 and 4. As Bankowski has changed his lineup, he was running the outside, but is now dropped low in front of Davis. As now they're side by side, this time off turn number 2 once again.
Oh, sideways for the 4 LeMay. He will scrape the wall out of turn number 2. That's going to leave Jeremy Davis down to the inside. LeMay will fight back on the outside. He'll lead us back across the stripe. Now LeMay is going to use the 90 as a pick, and he is going to take the lead. It looks like the Bankowski machine did move down and try and get out of the way, but it was a little too late for the driver of the 09. Because he was right there, so Jonathan LeMay will still once again hang on to your lead as Kyle Bingham is around here in the 77.
Right in front of your race leaders, the 77 of Bingham going around. The leader slowed down the missed contact, but what could have been big is not, as the 77 of Bingham has gone around to bring out our third yellow on lap 86.
So the yellow flag gonna wave for the Northeast Racer of Kyle Bingham in a 77 machine. We will have to queue up the replay and see what just happened there. We were working the longest run here of the night. Let's hit the replay button. What do we see out there on track? You see Bingham battling with the 50 there of Kimball. Oh, contact in front of him. It's the Andrew Davis machine that went up into the wall, and then Kyle Bingham nowhere to go. Andrew Davis is involved in this. The 55 of Kyle Willis is going to hit the brakes, so that will put us under our third yellow flag here of the night in our main event. Al, that was I don't want to say a tough break, but it was a lucky break for a lot of these drivers who were just about to go a lap down, like Danny Ware and Justin Bankowski. Those guys were just up. Well, Bankowski did, but he'll get the wave around. But Ware and Barry and Willis, they were all on the verge in probably the next 10 to 15 laps of going a lap down here before the halfway marker.
Yeah, lucky break, but here's the problem. No one can come down pit road for those tires, as we see them all below the line there. What they're trying to do right now is cool down those virtual Hoosier racing tires to get some more grip in them. That's a long run, so those tires are getting hot, they're slippery, they're greasy. So that's why you see the drivers working the bottom, trying to cool down their tires. But this track has provided some multiple groove racing so far. And how about Jeremy Davis running down LeMay? LeMay at one point was 1.5 seconds out in front and got into lap traffic, and the lead shrunk, and Davis was giving him a fit.
So we will see where everybody's scheduled to line up here. It looks like it is going to be LeMay, Davis, Allen, Curl, Bagnot, Quadros, Greenslit, Kimball, Manathis, and Leary. Rounding out the top 10, Barry is sitting there 11th, Ware is 12th, Phillips is 13th, and the last car on the lead lap right now has been Bankowski. Running one lap down will be the 55 of Kyle Willis. Then it's Mike Young in the 66 VT. Brian Talon is running 17th, one lap down. Kyle Bingham is one lap down, 18th. And Andrew Davis in the 22 is also one lap down, running 19th. Still out there running on the track will be the driver of the 98 of Stephen Dickey. He is currently 3 laps down, and still sitting down on pit road in his machine is the 46 of Mark Creighton. A couple other drivers have been out of this event for a little while. It's going to be Zach Nichols, Kenny Thompson, Jarrett Howard, Jacob Thornman, and Al, I believe we're going back green flag here.
Yeah, the lights on the pace car are out, getting ready to come back down pit road. LeMay and Davis will bring the field to the green flag. As the green flag is back out, we're back underway. As the back of the field wasn't quite up to snuff. Let's see if any penalties are handled out, but we're back to green flag racing. LeMay going to use the outside, but here comes Davis right back to the inside. Davis to the inside off turn number 4. LeMay back in the gas. This time, Davis might have him at the line.
Lead change for the first time. Call it the second time tonight, but it's the first time that Jeremy Davis will take the 09 Davis machine here tonight to the front spot. But he is going to slip. He leads one lap, and here comes Jonathan LeMay back onto the outside, and he will take back the lead this time by at the start-finish line. There is James Curl right there, sitting in the third spot in that 51. Maybe all he needed was that caution to come out, cool the tires down, and now he is battling for the race lead here as Jeremy Davis has not left that inside lane in quite a while.
Curl working the outside now. He's got to the right rear quarter panel of the 09 of Davis as he's going to challenge for your second place. with Young in the 24 back there in fourth. They run side by side off the corner. You can see the 09's rear starting to slide out a little bit, Roger, off the corner as he's trying to keep it pinched down so he doesn't make contact with the guys to his outside.
It looks like he might end up losing that position. The inside lane here on this short run has not been the place for Jeremy Davis. A little bit of a wiggle that time out of turn number 4. He will dive it back down into turn number 1. He had a really good center turn there in turns 1 and 2, but it didn't have the drive off that 09 machine has had here the last couple of times by. A little bit farther back behind them, Tony Quadros is doing battle with Tegan Dagnat. That is the 5th and 6th position, but we'll stay right here locked to these leaders as they battle for that 2nd position. It looks like the 51's going to take it, and he will go down in front of the 09 this time by, so it'll be LeMay, Curl, and Davis. Your top 3 have single filed out.
Yeah, Curl working the high side of the speedway right now. Davis hasn't given up on that bottom. It looks like everybody's working the high side of the speedway. As I said, Dagnat will take a look down to the inside of Quadros, this time off turn number 4, but can't do anything with them. They'll stay single file. Now Curl working the bottom of the speedway in car number 51. He's trying to find a way around your race leader of LeMay as he works through turns 3 and 4 and down the front stretch once again.
Yeah, and this battle back here for the 5th position is heating up pretty good back here. Quadros holding off that 42 machine. And David Greenslit just kind of sitting back there trying to figure out which driver is going to take what, which driver is going to wear out the tires first. Talking about Ware, I just noticed Danny Ware back here in his Tony Quadros entry machine. He was down on the apron last time coming out of turn number 2. That car was sideways, and, well, he is up to the 12th position, so slow and steady for the driver of that 28. Behind them, I believe, though, was the 11 of Brian Towns. He was just into the outside wall pretty hard. That car kind of rode the wall for a moment.
Curl working the bottom of your race leader. Bid for your race lead off turn number 4. Curl will not make it stick that time off 4, but the 51 of Curl working the bottom. Here comes Davis working the outside. Side-by-side battle. LeMay getting the challenge by the 51 of Curl. This time off turn number 4. It'll be LeMay at the line just by inches over Curl in the 51. And here comes Davis. He's trying to go lower than where Curl is on the racetrack.
Yeah, almost contact there from Davis to Curl, but they were able to hold on to the positions that they have right now. The 51's going to charge. It's going to be the Chevy to the outside, driven by the 4 of LeMay. That time by that inside lane, baby, coming to the 51 here of Curl in the late going, just getting closer to the halfway point here tonight at the South Boston Speedway.
That time at the line, it was very close, kind of a dead heat as LeMay showing the way still, but Curl has got that Ford Mustang Accelerated Motorsports number 51 hooked up on the bottom, and look at Davis is coming back at him as they work down here in the turn numbers 1 and 2. It looks like it takes a couple laps for the 09 of Davis to get back into his groove as contact between your race leaders bang doors down to the turn number 3.
Yeah, it looked like the 4 there on LeMay got a little bit sideways at the line. This time it will be the driver of the 51. James Curl going to actually get credited with, I believe, the lap. He has led 1 lap here tonight. So James Curl, that accelerated 51, is on the accelerator, and he is leading laps for the first time here tonight. This is the battle for the lead. A little bit farther back, Mike Young is trying to hold on to that position to be the lucky dog if we would get it. And a little bit farther up, I believe, here comes the 50 of Kimball to the inside on David Greenslit. This is the battle for the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Caden Berry is also right there in that group.
And they battle out the race leader to swap in paint, that time off turn number 2. The 51 stepped out a little sideways, causing the 4 to step out sideways. Now Curl will take over sole possession of that race lead. Is now side by side for your second spot. Davis working to the inside of LeMay off the corner. So did LeMay use up his tires early on as we work lap 113 at the line? So just 12 more laps, Roger. Then if the yellow were to fly, these drivers have a very important question on whether or not they should come down and get 4 fresh Mr. Feelgoods on their race car.
Yeah, we were talking about a little bit earlier how, the times really haven't dropped, maybe about a half second at most for a lot of these guys. As you do watch that battle for the 2nd position still. It's still Davis down to the inside and LeMay battling the outside. This used to be, call it about 20 laps ago, this would have been the battle for the lead, but now James Curl has that 51 machine, and he is on the accelerator, and he has opened up about a half-second gap now over the 2nd and 3rd position runners. Out I also just got word from one of our drivers that are out. It's going to be the 46 of Creighton giving us a little tidbit. The driver of the 08 of Jeremy Davis and the 4 of Jonathan LeMay, both identical paint schemes to the ones that they run up there in New Hampshire.
Oh, and speaking of, Davis got loose off turn number 2 with his AR bodies number 09. Davis Motorsports working off the corner. That's going to lose, drop him back to 4th, but did a hell of a job, Roger, saving that car from making hard contact with the inside retaining wall.
Yeah, maybe that's just, subject to running that bottom lane, heating up those tires on the 09. Those Hoosiers were definitely heated up. So he will actually only lose 1 position in that huge slide and save. He loses the 3rd position to Alan Young. Young is now going to do charge and try and get to the back of the 4. As your leader has already put, it looks like Brian Towns a lap down. Where is James Curl at this point out there on track? It's hard to keep up with this guy. He is so quick ever since he took over the lead. And he right now is working turns 3 and 4. I'm trying to see where the final position car is out there on track. It's about 2 corners ahead of him right now, and that would be the 22 of Andrew Davis, who right now is running 17th, 1 lap down, but everybody looks to see like they have got around the 11 right now of Brian Town.
Yeah, the battle's shaping up for your lucky dog spot. If the yellow were to fly to 55 of Willis working the inside of Young for that position. Here comes Bingham in the number 77. He's trying to work around the 66 now. The 66 for Young. He's working the bottom of the speedway. Bingham on the outside. He'll have position on him as they hit turn number 3.
Yeah, remember that 77 of Kyle Bingham went around a little bit ago. He has damage to his Northeast Racer 77 machine, but he will get around Mike Young in the 66 VT, so that will put now Kyle Bingham into the 15th position and looking to try and run down the 55 of Kyle Willis. Right now, Willis is in that final transfer position, but as he gets closer to that transfer position, Bingham right here in the Benkowski in the 91 machine. I'm taking a peek, and your leader is just about 4 seconds behind this group of cars right here, so they will have to hurry up and try and put some distance between themselves and your leader. Otherwise, well, another lap down for a lot of them, or Benkowski going a lap down and being the lucky dog.
Yeah, just one straightaway separating the leaders from that pack of cars that we were just watching with Bingham, Young, Andrew Davis, Brian Town, all battling for a position right there. As your race leader is now within the same corner of him, so quickly closing in on the backside of this field as we have reached the halfway point. 124 laps left to go. So right now, if the yellow were to fly, the drivers have the decision to make. Do they come down for pit stops, as the 09 of Davis is now working the inside of the 4 of LeMay for your number 2 position?
Yeah, Davis back to the gas in there, and it's going to kick out, coming out of turn number 2 once again for the rear end of that 09 of Jeremy Davis, but he's not giving up on that inside out all night long. You have barely seen him come off the bottom groove, and he is actually going to get around Jonathan LeMay there, so he will take over now the 2nd position. So it's Curl, Davis, LeMay, and Young, your top 4 drivers.
Yeah, it was a nice entry in the turn number 1. Kind of did a slide job move, went in low, kind of took the line away from LeMay, made LeMay check up a little bit. Now, Young in that number 24 is caught the backside of the 4 of LeMay. So we'll see if Davis now would clean track in front of him. 2 1/4 seconds in front is the race leader in 51 of Curl. As Curl looks like he's catching the Hudson Speedway number 98 of Stephen Dickey Jr. to put him down 4th lap as they work around the speedway. So Dickey's night continuing to be a struggle here at the South Boston Speedway as they make laps around the South Boston Raceway.
Speedway or Raceway?
Either one. They're racing right now, so I call it a raceway.
Well, it's a speedway for some, a raceway for others. Stephen Dickey going to move the 98 machine down to the inside lane. He's going to let James Curl go right on by him, so that'll put Dickey now to 4 laps down. And now Jeremy Davis will be the next car to that lap down 98. Where is the back of the field? Well, let's take a look. Let's ride on board here. Looking back, you see Justin Benkowski. He is the final car on the lead lap. Right now, he has 2 drivers between him and your leader. He has the 66 of Mike Young in the 66 VT, and then he also has the 22 of Andrew Davis back there. So your leader has to get through both of those cars before they can get to the 13th runner of Benkowski. And I'm just taking a peek, Al, I think I'm looking for the 77. Where is Bingham? He was
Bingham
right.
He's on the outside of Binkowski right now. He's working on the outside of the 91 down the backstretch in the turn numbers 3 and 4. He's running the extreme high side, Roger. He's almost in the third lane right now, but he is going backwards, so maybe some troubles on the 77 of Bingham as the 55 of Willis has gotten by him for the lucky dog spot right now. But right now they're in heavy lap traffic as they're side by side with the number 11 of Town, this time off turn number 4.
Working lap 138 now for your leader of Curl. He has now got around the 22 of Davis, and he will look to go around the 66 VT of Mike Young. He will. Young's going to go to the outside lane. And, well, now next on the chopping block is the 11 of Brian Town. And Town right now is shown 2 laps down, running in the 18th position.
And right now, the 09 of Jeremy Davis is a tenth quicker than your race leader right now. Your race leader has been in lap traffic. That time, Curl was quicker, but your race lead is just down to 1.6 seconds with 110 laps to go, this time at the stripe for the 51 of James Curl. So Davis starting to close in a little bit, but he's got lap traffic right in front of him. But your race leader's working up on the backside of Bingham as they come down the backstretch.
Yeah, what a race it has been so far. We have seen 3 leaders here tonight. Jonathan LeMay led the first 106 laps before he gave Davis 1 lap himself out front. And then this restart after working our third caution of the caution flag of the night. James Curl took over the lead, and now he has led 34. He'll get 35 credited this time by at the line. So 3 leaders and 6 lead changes here tonight between those 3 drivers.
Race lead down 1.6 seconds. The 09 of Jeremy Davis starting to close in on the 51 of Curl, but Curl sees the side-by-side battle between Bingham and Willis. This is for your lucky dog spot, but they have the race leader now within 10 car lengths of them as they work down the South Boston Speedway backstretch.
Yeah, that Tesla Traxxas 55 there by Willis, getting passed up by the Northeast Racer sponsored LFOD Motorsports car of Kyle Bingham. He will take over the 77 into the 14th position. But remember, we're talking about how the leaders are working up on these guys. If your leaders get to these 2, how hard are they going to really battle the leader? Because right ahead of them, Nick in that flamed 63 machine, he is the last one now on the lead lap. So he really wants to get going, because now, if that 63 goes a lap down, it doesn't matter where Kyle Bingham is on track. Just 1 car separates Bingham and your leader of Curl.
Yeah, the leader coming up on the 55 and the 77 is the 51 has to slam on their brakes as Willis trying to battle the 77 of Bingham. They are down a lap, but they're fighting for their race right now. If the yellow were to fly now, down to 1.3 seconds is the 63 of Nick Monotonous. Will take a look at the inside as they're stacked up in front of your race leader. That's allowing the 0 SoBo.
3 wide, the 63 is going to hit the brakes. The 51 of Curl going to make the contact with him, and that's going to hand the race lead back over to Jeremy Davis. Yellow flag is flying here tonight at the South Boston Speedway.
Yellow flags coming out, and as we were mentioning, Bingham and Willis wanted to see the 63 stay on the lead lap. Want to know why? Because that means the 63 of Nick Monotonous is going to take and be your lucky dog if he stays on the speedway, but tires are available now, so it's going to be interesting to see what our front runners will do, if they'll come down for 4 tires or 2, Roger.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see here. It looks like Davis is going to be bringing his machine down pit road, and it looks like everybody else is going to follow him in suit. LeMay is down, Alan Young is down, Dagnat is down, Kimball, Quadros, everybody is coming down pit road here. It'll be 4 tires with just 100 laps to go here tonight at the at South Boston. Looking at the schedule, 5 flags coming up in a couple of weeks here. I'm getting excited.
Well, I like 5 flags. That should be a good race. Next week we had the USA. It takes about 22 seconds to change 4 tires on this, and it looks like Danny Ware took 1.7 seconds worth of fuel on his number 28. As it looks like the 09 of Davis is going to beat the 51 of Curl off of pit road. But your race leader being shown right now, the 28 of Danny Ware, but he's down on pit road right now, so came by. So we'll let scoring come back through. But I can tell you right now, Jeremy Davis and James Curl both took at least 4 tires and some fuel. to make it to the end of this one.
So it does look like Jeremy Davis will take back over the race lead, as a lot of these guys coming out of pit road, we'll have to see where they're all going to be officially scored at. The backstretch pit here at the South Boston Speedway and a front stretch pit, can really sometimes jumble up the timing and scoring. We will let iRacing position every driver before we tell you, race fans, where they are. What we can tell you right now is a handful of drivers are out of this event. The number 11 of Brian Town is out. Tyler Larry is out in his 56 machine. Mark Creighton has now officially loaded up his 46 machine. Zach Nicholson is out of the event. Same with Kenny Thompson, Jarrett Howard, and Jacob Thornman. Thornman and Howard did not take to the grid here tonight in the 24th and 25th position.
So the scoring jumbled up. Your early race leader, the 4 of Jonathan LeMay, if I am seeing this right, is shown in 11th, 1 lap down after a 32-second pit stop on pit road for that car. So what was early on race leader, he finds himself 1 lap down right now.
Yeah, and the iRacing pace car is down and away, and we are racing once again. 96 laps to go here from the South Boston Speedway, and Jeremy Davis is going to take the early lead out of turn 2. That's going to put Danny Ware. Where did Danny Ware come from? He is now running third, and Matt Kimball is sitting there in his 50 Interstate Batteries machine in the 4th position. Those are your two side-by-side battles right now out there on track.
Yeah, side-by-side off turn number 2, it'll be Ware showing the way over to 50 at Kimball for your 3rd spot, as Davis is taking over sole possession of your race lead, but he's got Curl working the back bumper of him as they side-by-side, 3 wide almost, that time off turn number 2 with the 4 of LeMay working the outside of the 12 of Quadros. They somehow made it work.
Yeah, the 4 there of Jonathan LeMay's got to get to that 23 there that you see on screen. That's the battle for the lucky dog right now. So LeMay has got to go and get him. Tony Quadros also 1 lap down, and so is Alan Young. Remember, LeMay and Young were inside the top 5 before that caution flag came out. Now they find themselves looking, well, they're inside the top 10, but they are not on the same lap as your leaders, and the caution flag is going to wave. Not sure what's out there on track. I don't see anybody sideways, Al. I don't see anybody turned around either.
No, I'm not sure what happened to bring out the yellow. Maybe some debris out onto the speedway, but your lucky dog, I believe, is going to be the number 42 or 23, however you want to view him, of Tegan Dagnall. He should be the lucky dog recipient, so that'll put 8 cars back on the lead lap, and James Curl and the 09 of Jeremy Davis were battling it out for your race lead side by side just as the yellow flew.
Yeah, so an interesting yellow flag here coming out on lap 160 here with just 90 laps to go. And it will be the 42 of Dagnall getting his lap back. So that'll put 8 cars back onto the lead lap here from the South Boston Speedway. I don't expect to see any of these drivers coming down here on pit road, so it should be a pretty quick yellow. But Al, while we have the chance, we got to thank everybody for tuning in here on the Turn 3 Racing Network tonight to watch the Northeast Racers tonight, presented by the LFOD Motorsports or LFOD Motorsports. We got to thank everything they do behind the scenes. And there is a big prize at the end. This is a 6-week schedule here for the Northeast Racers. I believe, Al, if I have it right in the notes, I believe it's the top 4 in the standings at the end of these 6 races will get a sponsorship deal with the LFOD Motorsports Group.
Yeah, it's trying to, so the LFOD Motorsports doing a good job. You're going to get these racers that will eventually get out onto their normal short track speedways where they usually run with a little extra sponsorship from the LFOD Motorsports Group. So that's pretty cool for these drivers. Is trying to find out what that yellow was for. I can't quite find it.
Yeah, so I believe it was a shoe booty turn 1, but you know what also? We got to give another big shout out to the New Hampshire Short Track Racing Association. A lot of these drivers racing at one of the 4 racetracks in New Hampshire. A lot of them are either racers at one of the 4 or they race at all 4 and compete in a weekly schedule. It is very interesting up there in the New Hampshire Short Track Racing Association. With all 4 of these tracks racing on a different night, you can hit all 4 in the same week, Al, and not have to change the setup from one track to another as we go double file.
Double filing it up, it'll be James Curl and Jeremy Davis. There's your front row. Danny Ware and the 50 of Matthew Kimball sitting there in the top. And Justin Bankowski, you were talking about him just before the last yellow. He was in trouble as the race leaders were catching him. As the green flag is back out, Davis with a lightning start down to the turn number 1.
Yeah, that 09 just kind of shot out of the cannon there. He takes the lead. Oh, the 50 of Kimball going to bounce off the wall in turn number 2. Here comes the 51 of Curl, though. He curls the inside lane, and he will be side by side at the line, but it will not be James Curl at the line. It will be that 09 of Jeremy Davis, as they are still side by side for the lead. They have not figured out who is going to lead this next lap. It looks like the 51 here of James Curl will go back to the point.
Curl working the bottom. The 09 at Davis on the outside. Davis with a nice move. That time off the wall. They make contact. Davis making hard contact with a turn 2 wall. Yellow flag will come out, and I believe that'll put LeMay back on the lead lap. It looks like it was the number 66 of Mike Young possibly involved in this caution number 6 of the night here at the South Boston Speedway.
Well, the 66 VT of Mike Young going around. I think Nick in that 63 was also involved. Let's watch it back. You're watching these two. They are battling. They're not actually on the same lap. They're running 16th and 17th respectively on track. Let's see what happens between both these drivers. Looks like a 3-wide situation there, as I believe that's the 98 of Stephen Dickey getting together with those 2 lap down cars. So right now, your 16th, 17th, and 18th position drivers bringing out your caution flag. Is this number 4, I believe, Al? Or actually, this is 5 now.
It's caution number 6 here for tonight. But I think it looked like the 66 of Young might have just gotten outside of the racing groove. As you can start seeing, there is a lot of tire marbles starting to build up outside of the racing groove. And if you get up in them, it's like driving on ice. The car will not turn, so Young kind of checked up off the corner, stay off the wall, and I don't think Dickey Jr. knew that that was going to happen and just kind of tagged him, causing this last yellow. So kind of a racing deal, in my opinion, Roger, but a tough break for the 66 of Young, who now finds himself in the 16th position.
Yeah, and just taking a peek at the timing and scoring, that will put Jonathan LeMay back onto the lead lap, so that'll now give us 9 drivers on the lead lap, and another 5 running 1 lap down. Mike Young is the final driver now running out there on track in the 16th position.
Yeah, LeMay, we remember seeing him up front early on in this event, finds himself back in 9th. So even though he's scored 9th on the standings, Roger, he's going to have to start last car on the track, being the Lucky Dog rules. So with iRacing scoring, it'll put you right behind the last place car. So he's got to make his way through all these cars that are down 1 lap that are going to be racing for the Lucky Dog, along with trying to get back up to your race front. So he's trying to hoping for a quick yellow here so he can get bunched back up with the race leaders.
Well, race fans, we hope you enjoy the racing you have seen tonight by the Northeast Racers, presented by the LFOD Motorsports Group. If you like what you have seen, go ahead, hit the thumbs up. Let these drivers know you appreciate what kind of show they're putting on. If it's your first time here in the Turn 3 Racing Network, thanks for tuning in. Go ahead, hit that little subscribe button, because you know what? We bring you all the race action just like we are now, as the iRacing pace car is going to turn left down the pit road. James Curl, Jeremy Davis going to go side by side down into 1, and it looks like a really good start for all these drivers, and it's going to be the 51 of James Curl nosing ahead of that 09 of Davis, and Davis is going to bank it off the outside wall coming out of turn number 2.
Yeah, business is starting to pick up as we're underneath 100 laps to go. 78 laps to go exactly as Davis now works to the bottom. As side by side, Ware works around the 50 of Kimball. Here comes Greenslit in that number 20. Haven't mentioned his name most of the night. He's up, finds himself inside the top 10 as he rides off the bottom, off turn number 4, but it'll be Curl with about a 3-car length advantage as they work down here on the front stretch.
So stacked up for the 3rd, 4th, 5th position. And now it's only going to be 2 drivers side by side. It's Benkowski and Kimball. That's the battle for the 4th and 5th position. Willis is right there. Remember, that Tesla Traxxas machine was a couple laps down not too long ago. Now finds himself trying to get himself inside the top 5. And right now, with 75 laps
Trouble
to go,
down at turn number 3 and 4. It looks like the 85 of Caden Berry going around. So yellow flag coming out on lap 176 for the 7th time here tonight. So it'll be the field slowing with Curl showing the way. I believe Caden Berry went for a hard lick into the outside fence in turn number 4.
Well, we'll watch it back here on our Turn 3 Racing replay. He is battling with the 77 of Kyle Bingham. Let's see what happens between these two drivers. Andrew Davis is right there in his Arctic Cat 22 machine also. Andrew Davis has the 13th position. Let's see. Here is the 70. Oh, it looks like Davis got a little slow into the corner. Barry tried to, not Barry, it was Bingham, tried to kind of go up the track, but Barry was there. Those two make contact, and that will bring out this yellow flag. Al, it's that short track chain reaction right there.
Yeah, tough break for the drivers involved. Is heavy front end damage on the 85 of Barry, but I don't think it'll slow his progress down. It looks like he's been able to stay out on the racing surface and stay in this race, but definitely puts him back a little bit, Roger. But things happen very quick here at the South Boston Speedway as they work caution number 7 here. But what an exciting race up front. That time, Curl with a nice launch, where we saw Davis on the previous yellow have a very good launch to get that race lead.
Yeah, we're going to see what lane now the 51 of James Curl is going to take here. We've seen him very good down on the bottom groove. It'll be 70 laps to go next time by, and these laps are going to be quick. They're going to go quick. They have 29 laps on the tires for a lot of these drivers, but they haven't seen too many green flag runs, so I don't expect their tire wear to really be an issue from this point to the end of the race. Looking back off James Curl's bumper, though, you see that Jeremy Davis machine, and that front end has been used up here, Al. That left front and right front have been crinkled. Some of it coming from wall contact and some of it coming from contact with James Curl.
Yeah, it definitely has. And what can happen with that front end damage, it can knock the toe out of this car, which will make the car work a little bit different. Feeling it could tighten it up, could loosen it up. It's going to make the tires wear a little bit different. So the tire wear that he had early on in the race, we saw him be very good on a long run earlier on in this event. That could change now as a lot of front end damage on the front of that 09 Davis machine.
So they will double them up here once again, which means we're going to go back green flag racing with 68 laps to go here tonight. It's going to be James Curl, Jeremy Davis, Danny Ware, and Justin Benkowski. Kyle Willis behind them. Alongside him will be the 50 of Kimball as they come out of turn 4. The green flag is about to drop. There it is. Green flag. A really slow start there by both your leaders. Played bumper tag. Ware was into the back of the 51, and Benkowski was into the back of the Davis machine. Out of turn number 2, though, it is going to surge ahead. It's going to be the 51 of James Curl, Jeremy Davis. Oh, someone going around. It's going to be the 55 of Kyle Willis going around. The green flag is still out. Now the yellow flag is going to be thrown here tonight at the South Boston Speedway. Add another one to the tally list out, and I believe the 04 Jonathan LeMay may have gone around there also.
Tough break for the 55 of Willis, but I think he'll be able to continue on here as the pace car will pick up the field, this time off of turn number 2 with James Curl still showing the way in that accelerated motorsports number 51. Davis there in that 09. We just talked about the damage on it. He stayed right there. How about Benkowski, Roger? Benkowski sitting there in your 3rd spot as he sits there in the 4th spot. 5th spot will be Matthew Kimball. Dagnall round sits 6 to 24 of Alan Young is 7th. Jonathan LeMay, who caught the lucky dog 2 times ago, will sit in 8th. Kyle Willis falling back to your 9th spot. And David Greenslet rounding out your top 10. I believe Tony Quadros will be your lucky dog this time by here. So 65 laps to go at the South Boston Speedway. We're hoping you're enjoying tonight's show on Turn 3 Racing Network as the Northeast Racers, presented by the LFOD Motorsports, bring you tonight's action here at the South Boston Speedway. Currently a race leader runs at the Bronson Speedway in a street stock in the real life. He has the 2nd highest iRating overall driver on all. As we all know, Ty Majeski has the highest rating of oval drivers, but this James Curl, driver of a street stock at the Bronson Speedway, your race leader, the 51 in that accelerated motorsports, number 51. No slouch here on the service, but he's getting all he wants from the 09 of Davis and Brinkowski in at number 91. David Ware, last week's winner from the Oxford Plains Speedway, sitting in 4th. He had to start tail end of this one as they work this caution here. And Roger, interesting to see that we have some real-life drivers up at the front of this one. The 51 of Curl, even though he has the second highest iRating level, he is a street stock driver at the Bronson Speedway.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers running throughout the Northeast and crewing throughout the Northeast. And, you know, some say iRacing isn't a platform that really translates to the real world, and the real world doesn't really translate to the simulator. Well, a lot of these guys would beg to differ on that one. And you know what? We're going back green flag racing here. 61 laps on the board remaining in this one here tonight from the South Boston Speedway. Curl and Davis going to do the dance into turn 1 once again. And it looks like a really good start by the entire field. And Curl going to curl that inside once again, and he will clear Davis out of turn number 2.
Now Davis is going to the 91 of Bankowski, working to the inside. That's the battle for your number 2 spot. So that damage on the front end of the 09 of Davis might be affecting how that car handles as he's moved to the outside of the speedway. The time will power back by the 91 of Bankowski. Here comes Ware in the Tony Quadros, number 28, sponsored mobile as they work off the corner. Bankowski will step out a little bit sideways, that time off 4.
Yeah, remember Danny Ware had to start shotgun to the field, and then he was wrapped up in one of those first incidences here tonight, and now has worked his way from the back of the field to battling inside the top 3. Here he comes to the outside of Bankowski. He is now on that outside groove, and that car looks really clean. Oh, as he scrapes the wall a little bit going into turn number 3.
Scraped the wall. He's got the number 42. Dagnall working the backside of him as they work through the corner. The 91 of Bankowski pinned to the bottom of the speedway. There's a side-by-side battle between Young and Kimball rages on. Here comes LeMay in that number 4 car. He's working around the outside of the 55 of Willis. Side-by-side battles from 5th on back.
Yeah, don't count Jonathan LeMay out. He has led the most laps here tonight. He is trying to work his way back through the field, but right now he battles for that 8th position. Right in front of him is going to be Kimball in the 50 Interstate Batteries machine and the 24 of Alan Young. They are almost 3 wide here with Bankowski. They're going to put Bankowski in the middle. Oh, Kimball's going to back out of it, but they thought about it for a moment, and they're going to think about it again out of turn number 4.
They are flirting with the devil right now as they work down in the turn number 1 and 2. It'll be Bankowski on the inside as Kimball fighting back on the outside of that number 50. They've got him stacked up behind him. Here comes LeMay. LeMay working the number 4 to the back bumper of the 50 of Kimball as they work through turns 1 and 2 as we got trouble down the front stretch. I heard contact. Looked like the number 07 of Randall Phillips possibly in trouble as they stays green, so able to keep it going. But trouble for the 07 as we got a bid for your 3rd spot as Dagnall will take a look to the inside of Ware.
So that inside lane coming back here in the late run. Dagnall going to see if he can take the 3rd spot from Danny Ware. Both these drivers have had an up and down night. Dagnall at one point was inside the top 3, and then a caution flag came out. He came down at the halfway point. He was shown a lap down. Now he's battling back inside the top 3. Could he take that position? Danny Ware powers back in that 28 machine to the outside, and he will still hold on to our 3rd position. Bankowski, though, back here. LeMay, Kimball, Young. They are all throwing haymakers at each other because it is under 50 laps to go here tonight at the South Boston Speedway. LeMay going to sail her off there. I think Kimball may have hit the wall a little bit going into turn number 1.
Yeah, number 4, LeMay working the outside of Kimball. He's now tucks it back in line, so they'll settle it out for a moment. Take a minute to breathe, but then go right back to the war. Here comes the number 24, Young. Now he's trying to get to the outside of Bankowski. Bankowski will slam the door shut down in the turn number 3. That number 91 of Bankowski showing the high side, leaving the bottom open for Young. Young not able to do anything with him. Now the 4 LeMay right to the back bumper of Kimball off turn number 2.
Yeah, it's a traffic jam here at South Boston as they work down the backstretch. It's Kimball in the 5th position, LeMay in 6th, Bankowski there sitting in 7th, and Young in 8th, and Willis is right there in the 9th position. David Greenslit is the final driver on the lead lap, running in the 10th position. He's a little bit down off the pace right now. I believe some damage on the 20 of David Greenslit. Out front, though, it is still James Curl. That has not changed. Jeremy Davis in second, Danny Ware in third. Tegan Dagnott sitting there in the fourth position, and Matthew Kimball in fifth. You are watching this whole battle. 5 cars here under the blanket. Nobody is able to pull away from each other right now, as maybe actually this whole group has started to pull back in. Tegan in the 42.
Yeah, they definitely have. Since they got single file, they've been able to race down. It's now the number 42 of Dagnall working the inside of the 28 of Ware. Can't do anything with him, but now he's right back to the bottom, painting the yellow line off turn number 2.
Yeah, the line is yellow, but that does not mean anything. We're not at Talladega. We're not at Daytona. These drivers, as long as there is asphalt, they will race onto it. As they race past the start-finish line, it'll be 42 laps to go, and you are watching off the back camera here of the 28 of Danny Ware. Everybody's trying to find where they can go. The 50 of Kimball goes to the bottom to see if he can try and get a run on that Dagnott machine. He will not. Dagnott going to follow Danny Ware down into turn number 1. They'd run single file right now from your third position, as you see on the camera, all the way back to 9th.
Yeah, single file battle. Now Kimball's got to the back bumper. Dagnall can't do anything with him that time off turn number 2. As Dagnall will take a peek to the inside once again on Ware, but Ware is making that number 28 very wide right now, and it's stacking the field up behind them as they work almost 4 seconds behind your race leader, James Curl.
Caution flag going to come out on the speedway.
Car up high off turn number 2. I believe that is the number 22 of Andrew Davis, the Articat sponsored number 22.
So that'll bring us to a crawl. And, well, if you thought, I believe, what was that, 60 laps was going to be a shootout, or sorry, 50, I think, when we went back green. I don't even remember. We're going too fast here. I'm not sure able to keep up here, Al. But we do know it's the 22 of Andrew Davis. Let's cue it up here. What does the eye in the sky tell us here tonight at the South Boston Speedway? Oh, contact between the 85 of Kendall Berry and the 22 of Andrew Davis sends Davis around in front of the leaders into the outside wall, and that will bring out the caution flag with just 38 laps to go at the South Boston Speedway tonight.
Yeah, and one car that did not want to see that was James Curl. Had a 2-second lead over your second place runner of the number 09 of Jeremy Davis, as your lucky dog is going to be the number 12 of Tony Quadros. So that'll put 11 cars back on the lead lap here with just 36 laps to go this time by. So the field's starting to get back on the lead lap after the pit stops, Roger. Got 11 cars back on the lead lap.
So with 11 cars on the lead lap, I'm going to say it, Al. You know, they usually say when you head to the Talladega or Daytona Speedway that anybody can win. Well, we've seen how the driving talent is here on a Sunday night with the Northeast Racers. Now with 11 drivers on the lead lap, anybody can win.
Anybody can win. We've had 15 lead changes amongst 5 different drivers here tonight. So the racing's been heavy and hot up front. And some of the guys that were up front earlier have been marred back in traffic, but these yellows are helping them out. One driver I'm thinking of is the number 4 of Jonathan LeMay. LeMay back to your 6th spot, so he's going to be within striking distance. And we saw the battle raging on in front of them between the 28 of Ware and the 42 of Dagnall. Dagnall going to start on the outside, so we'll see if he'll be able to get around the number 28 of Danny Ware on this restart.
Well, race fans, while we're working this caution flag, we got to thank you all for tuning in here tonight on the Turn 3 Racing Network. We know with this pandemic going on all around the world, we hope all is safe for all of our viewers, all of our drivers, and all of our friends all around the world. Our thoughts and our prayers do go out to the ones that have been affected by this COVID-19 virus that is going around. So, race fans, how about we stay home and watch the Turn 3 Racing Network. We hope you enjoy your program that you are watching here tonight. Muth up here in the booth alongside me, it is Al. And Al, we're going back to green flag racing with 33 laps to go.
Green flag conditions coming back at you here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Green flag is back out, and it'll be Curl and Davis on the gas pedal first down the turn number 1, side-by-side battle. Davis rolling the outside a little bit, but Curl will fight back on the bottom. Still side-by-side down to the turn number 3. Curl will jump out in front with that number 51. By half a car now off the corner. It'll be Davis fighting back on the outside as they head to you in turn number 2.
Yeah, that 51 machine still curling the bottom there. Jeremy Davis trying to bring that 09 machine back to the front here And now look who is running in the 4th position as your front 3 single file out here. With just 32 laps to go, 31 to go that time by at the line, Jonathan LeMay has found his 4 machine running in the 4th spot, and I don't think he is done yet, Al. I think he's going to continue to carry that 4 machine a little bit more forward here tonight and possibly pick up the win.
Yeah, he was very strong earlier in this event, but he's going to have to wrestle the 09 of Jeremy Davis and the 51 of James Curl for that race win as he's working the back bumper now, the 42 at Dagnall. Dagnall really keeping it in tow with your race leaders as they've been slugging it out around the bottom of the speedway as they work down the turn number 3. Side-by-side battle back there for your 6th spot is Kimball working the 28 of Danny Ware. They're still side-by-side. A little bit of cross-up off turn number 4. Everybody keeps it pointed in the right direction.
Here comes LeMay down to the inside. He's going to have to fall back, though, out of turn 2. It looks like he also wiggled in that 4 machine. So now it's Curl at the line with 27 laps to go. Davis, Dagnall, LeMay, Young, Kimball, Ware, Benkowski, Greenslit, Willis, and Quadros right now rounding out your top 11 drivers who are left on the lead lap here. And David Greenslit's trying to move himself forward in that 20 machine. He is back here in traffic right now. He's back there battling with the 91 of Justin Benkowski. Benkowski, was a lap down a little bit earlier in the race and now has worked his way inside the top 10. Greenslit has been just kind of sitting around this 10th place slot all night long in his Vermont cabinetry machine.
He has, and while that battle rages on to number 4 of Jonathan LeMay. Now he's gotten around the 42 of Dagnall, and here comes Alan Young. He's bringing the 24 Young with him. So the 4 and the 24 making a march towards the front with just 24 laps to go. We are closing in. The Fat Lady's getting ready to sing here at the South Boston Speedway. But now Jeremy Davis a half a second off the back bumper of James Curl, trying to run away from this. But they got LeMay and Young coming in. They were up front earlier on in this race.
Yeah, it looks like Alan Young in the Young Guns Creation on Facebook machine. He will take over that 4th spot as Tegan going to fall back in his Jordan-sponsored entry. So now it's Curl, Davis, LeMay, Young, Dragnot, your top 5 drivers here. And Al, it's closing in on 20 to go, and Curl is just curling himself around that bottom and pulling away.
Yeah, he picked up about a half a tenth every lap right now as Davis is about a tenth off of your race leader. That front end damage on the 09 has to be playing into effect because we saw before the front end damage, they were battling it out pretty hard. So the 09 at Davis is a caution's going to come out.
Tony Quadros in the number 12 Illumina machine. He is going to go around, and that's going to bring out the caution with under 20 laps to go. That's going to shake things up here at the South Boston Speedway. Let's not waste the time. Let's hit the replay. Watching that 12 machine down to the inside on Caden Berry. What happens to Tony Quadros?
Looks like you're going in the turn number 3, Roger. The 85 of Berry might have just pushed up a little bit going into turn number 3, caught the 12 in the left rear.
Yeah, and that turns the 12 around, and that's what's going to bring out the yellow here, Al. So the shootout that we thought was going to be the shootout is now really going to be the shootout.
Yeah, and guess what? That'll put 12 cars back on the lead lap. I believe the 77 of Kyle Bingham will be back onto the lead lap with his Northeast Racers, number 77. LFOD Motorsports on the side of that car. He'll get the lucky dog recipient here. So 12 cars back on the lead lap here with just 15 left on the racetrack.
You mean Bubbles back on the lead lap?
Yes, sir.
All right. Look at Kyle Bingham. He's going to bring that Northeast machine back around. He'll tag the rear of the field here tonight. I believe once we do drop the hammer, it'll be about 14 laps to go here from the South Boston Speedway. And this will be round number 3 wrapping up from the South Boston Speedway. We head next week to the USA International Speedway on Sunday night here for the Northeast Racers, right here on your Turn 3 Racing Network. You'll be able to catch all that action. 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time right here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Only 3 more races to go. The USA International Speedway. 5 flags also coming your way, and unfortunately I can't flip my page here to tell you what the next one is, but
we'll wrap up the season at New Hampshire.
There it
is.
is.
Magic Mile.
Well, how fitting is that? The Northeast Racers out of the Northeast, and we're going to finish it up at that long 1-mile track.
A lot of these drivers were probably getting ready to go to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway this weekend, as it was supposed to be the Northeast race up there. They were going to have a lot of racing at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, but unfortunately, with the current situation going on, as we're all aware, and stuck at home for the most part, they had to cancel that event, postpone it. I don't think it's canceled. I think they just postponed it. They're going to move it on later in the year, hopefully, as we get past this. So hopefully everybody out there is staying safe and enjoying this broadcast here on Turn 3, Roger. But I hope that you guys are strapped in, because this one's going to get wild.
It's going to be 14 laps to go here when the green flag flies here tonight for your main event. There it is, 14 laps on the board, and Davis and Curl are going to do the dance again down into turn number 1. Out of turn number 2, it looks like that 51 machine's got the inside working, but Davis is not going to let him run away and hide. This time by, it'll be 13. The laps are going to count down faster than you can blink here, race fans. Don't blink, don't run away just yet, because Davis isn't letting Curl run away.
No, they're side by side down in the turn number 3. Davis working the outside, keeping the 51 low. The 51 low a little bit sideways that time, as now Young has gotten around the number 4 LeMay for your third. And looking to chase down your races. Contact. They bounce off each other down in turn number 3. The 51 of Young on the inside. Davis on the outside. They made contact off of turn number 2. They'll make more contact off 4, as Davis is going to take your race lead. Here comes Young.
Yeah, here comes Alan Young out of nowhere. He's going to go to the outside here on James Curl in that 51 machine. Can Alan Young get around the 51? And this time by, it's going to be 10 more laps to go here from the South Boston Speedway. Jeremy Davis and James Curl making that contact, and Curl maybe heated up those tires on that accelerator number 15 here. We'll have to find out, is he sideways once again out of turn number 4. Somebody else is sideways. I can't see. I believe that's the 55 there, Kyle Willis. He was sideways in his machine. He's back there in the 9th position, trying to pick up a position on Danny Ware. He's now single file out here, Al. I'm going to say, here comes Jonathan LeMay.
Yeah, LeMay's coming, but Kimball giving the bumper to the 51 of Curl, who's fell back to your number 4 spot, as now he looks to regain, maybe cool those tires off and make a charge, but this time by will be 7 laps to go.
7 laps to go this time by for Jeremy Davis, and he has opened up about a half-second lead right now. As you look back at the rest of the field, it's the hungry Hippos trying to figure out a line to go run him down, and it looks like Jonathan LeMay all over the back bumper that time going into 3. He slipped a little bit, as there's now 6 laps to go here at the South Boston Speedway.
The flagger here getting ready to go. Show the 5 laps to go, as they'll show the hand. 5 laps to go for the 09 of Davis. Still really down underneath the half a second. Young is coming.
Young was definitely faster last time by here than Jeremy Davis. The question being, is it going to be enough time for Young to run him down? Here comes Jonathan LeMay. Here comes James Curl. He has kind of cooled those tires back down on his 51, and with 4 laps to go, I don't think he is done and out of this one yet. Once again, Alan Young was the fastest car on track last time by.
He was, but to that time, it was the 14.927 by Jonathan LeMay. Curl ran a 14.8, so these guys still have some left in the tank, as now it'll be Curl underneath the 4 LeMay. LeMay all over the back bumper. Gave him 2 taps already. Is the third one going to move him up the racetrack?
Yeah, this time by at the line for Jeremy Davis. It'll be the popsicle sticks in the air tonight for the main event. Just 2 more laps to go as you watch the battle for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th position. Jonathan LeMay going to go up, and he's going to bump Alan Young a little bit in that 24 machine. This time by, Jeremy Davis is going to see the white flag. 1 more lap to go here from South Boston tonight in your race here for the Northeast Racers, presented by the LFOD Motorsports. Jeremy Davis just has 2 more corners here tonight, race fans, as he's going to look out of turn number 4. Jeremy Davis is going to run round number 3 here from the South Boston Speedway. Alan Young comes home 2nd. Jonathan LeMay comes home sitting in your 3rd spot. A disappointing night here for James Curl, as he's going to finish 4th. Matt Kimball will finish 5th. Tegan Dagnott going to finish 6th. Justin Benkowski will finish 7th. Running 8th is Danny Ware. Kyle Willis is 9th. And David Greenslip will round out the top 10 finishing order here. Well, as your winner here comes to a stop on the front straightaway, we're going to take a quick break and see if we can catch up with your top 3 finishers here of Jeremy Davis, Alan Young, and Jonathan LeMay. Don't go anywhere, race fans. You're going to want to hear what these guys all have to say about the racing action tonight, because it was hot, heavy, and oh boy, what kind of wild stuff did they see from behind the scenes tonight? Welcome back, race fans, here to the South Boston Speedway. 250 laps of your main event are in the books. We have a winner officially. He's down here in Victory Lane. It's the driver of the 09, Jeremy Davis. Jeremy, that 09 was quick all night. There towards the end, though, it looked like it might have been a second-place finish for you and that team, but you kind of snuck one away here at the South Boston Speedway.
Yeah, I had a really good long-run car. I was riding pretty much most of the race, but I got into the wall a little bit too much just after the pit stop, and it tightened it up. So then about all it had was second place, but I saved, hoping that we get a late caution, and I just, I don't know, hustled it to get what I could.
Yeah, tell us about the racing there towards the end of the race with you and James Curl. It was hard-nosed, short-track racing around this little SoBo track.
Yeah, this track's pretty tight, especially up off the corner and side by side. I know this setup is tough on the top. It does weird things on the bottom. It does weird things. So I don't know. We bumped a couple times, but I don't think either one of us took too much racetrack away from the other. It was really good racing, actually, the whole race that way, pretty much for the lead. I don't know how many laps I spent side by side for the lead in this race, but it seemed like a lot.
Well, we can tell you it was a lot. You only led 29 laps, though, but it was the last lap that really counted here tonight. So while we have you here in Victory Lane, ask you one final question. How do you feel about heading from this South Boston Speedway down to Florida to the USA International Speedway?
I feel pretty good. I don't know. I was still a little rusty last week at Oxford, and I really didn't practice a lot this week, but I got a little bit in when I joined this session, and I don't know, I'm getting back to the swing of things on the iRacing stuff. So it's been a long time, but I remember USA. I think I can get it done.
You think you can get it done? Well, before we let you go, Jeremy, is there anybody you got to thank for this 09 machine ending up in Victory Lane here tonight?
Yeah, I just want to thank the guys in the league, David, Rodney, for putting up with us, and I don't know, it was just all these guys were pretty good to race with, so I want to thank all these guys for at least having a good place to race.
Well, there you heard it from your winner tonight. Winner Circle tonight, presented by the LFOD Motorsports Group. You just heard from Jeremy Davis. He led 29 laps here tonight. Driver that races pro stock and super late models in real life back here on the iRacing side of things. Al, I believe you have caught up, though, with the man who's going to finish second here tonight, driver of the 24.
Yeah, that's the driver of the 24, the Young Guns Creations, car number 24 of Alan Young. And man, where did you come from? You were outside of the top 5, top 10, it seemed like, and then right there with about 20 laps to go, your car came to life.
Just determination. I got caught at the lap down there, and it all worked out, and I just drove my butt off. I knew I had a top 5 car at the time when I pitted, and I knew it was going to take a lot of work and determination to get back up there.
How tough was the track condition? We saw the top side and the low side working really well for a lot of drivers tonight. And after the halfway point, when you guys got able to take tires, You kind of got mirrored back in traffic a little bit there. How treacherous was it racing back there? It seemed like a lot of side-by-side racing.
I was definitely a little cautious when I first got back there, and then once that wreck happened, I was able to get back up about, I think it was like 8th or something. I knew I had to go conserve a little bit, but go at the same time.
Well, you had a great race here tonight, finishing in the 2nd spot after starting 7th. Next week we head to the USA International Raceway. How's that track for you?
I feel like it's a decent one. I haven't ran there in these cars in a while, but I will be putting in some practice this week and hopefully come out with another top 5.
There you have it, Roger, the driver that races at the White Mountain Motorsports Park in the Street Stock Division, and you're a 2nd place finisher here tonight. That's Alan Young in the Young Gun Creations, car number 24.
Well, that was a good run by Alan Young, but let's talk about for a moment. We can't talk to him here in person. We don't have Jonathan LeMay on the mic for us, but what we can tell you is the driver of this Ford machine, Al, it was one heck of a wild ride for him. Led a lot of laps, 106 laps to be exact. Found himself a lap down at one point in the middle of an accident, got his lap back, came back through the field, and he's going to come up just a little short. I don't know if it's laps that he needed, a couple more laps, or not, but he is going to finish in the 3rd spot, Jonathan LeMay.
Yeah, he had a great race and determination to get back there. Got a lucky dog to get back on there after the pit stops had happened. So he brings home this car that's sponsored by HS&G Erosion Control and the SiltsockNH.com. Number 4 Chevrolet SS will come home in the 3rd spot. But man, what a great race here tonight. And you think tonight was good. Wait till we head to USA next week.
Yeah, USA Speedway, the next place that we're going to drop these super late models off for the Northeast Racers, presented by the LFOD Motorsports Group. That'll be next week right here on your Turn 3 Racing Network. We hope to see you next week right here back at the same time on Sunday night, 7 o'clock. Live time here with the Northeast Racers, presented by the LFOD Motorsports Group. Till we see you next Sunday night, race fans, we hope you all stay safe out there, and we hope to see you again.